Across the globe are artifacts that leave experts scratching their heads, objects that seem impossible, out of place, or simply beyond explanation. These mysterious relics, found tucked away in ancient tombs, hidden beneath layers of earth, or submerged beneath waves for thousands of years, refuse to give up their secrets easily. Today we're exploring 20 of history's most puzzling artifacts, perfectly crafted swords that have stayed sharp and rust-free for thousands of years, strange ancient discs whose purposes remain unclear, daggers forged from fallen meteorites, dusty scrolls filled with unknown symbols, and ancient technology we still don't understand. Each one has sparked theories, debates, and countless attempts to uncover their origins. We'll look at what makes these artifacts special, strange, or downright baffling. As always with our videos, the visuals are here to provide extra context, but they're not necessary. So whether you're watching closely or just listening in the background, settle in, grab a snack, relax, and enjoy the fascinating stories behind these puzzling objects. Now let's explore 20 ancient discoveries we simply can't explain. In the world of archaeology, many discoveries are straightforward. Beautiful pottery, golden jewelry, or perhaps a clear-cut royal tomb. But occasionally, archaeologists find something so strange and out of place, it feels as though the past itself is teasing us. This is precisely the case with the Sabu disc, an odd artifact whose unusual shape and purpose have puzzled experts since its discovery. The story begins back in 1936, in the heart of Egypt's vast, sandy desert. Renowned British Egyptologist Walter Bryan Emery was excavating the tomb of Prince Sabu, a nobleman who lived roughly around 3,100 to 3000 BC during Egypt's very early dynastic period. Emery and his team carefully cleared away sand and rubble, uncovering the tomb step by step, until they stumbled across a small, unassuming chamber. Inside lay various objects befitting a royal burial: pottery vessels, ivory jewelry, and bronze tools. Yet resting quietly among these familiar items was an artifact that immediately stood out, a peculiar disc, unlike anything previously seen. Carved meticulously from a single block of schist, a soft yet delicately layered stone, this artifact, now known as the Sabu disc, looked anything but ordinary. Measuring roughly 61 centimeters in diameter, it was surprisingly thin and fragile, considering the hardness of stone. But even more intriguing was its curious shape. At the center was a hole, surrounded by 3 thin, gracefully curved blades, evenly spaced and delicately tapered. The entire disc rested on a slender rim, elevating it slightly from whatever surface it was meant to sit upon. To visualize it clearly, imagine a steering wheel combined oddly with a propeller, something you'd expect more from a modern workshop rather than an ancient Egyptian tomb. Its craftsmanship was undoubtedly sophisticated, reflecting a high degree of skill. Whoever created this disc didn't just possess talent. They understood how to handle stone delicately, carving precise curves and maintaining perfect symmetry. Given its unique appearance, the Sabu disc quickly attracted attention, and equally quickly, experts began speculating about its purpose. Archaeologists, historians, and even enthusiasts from various backgrounds have offered theories ranging from the plausible to the downright imaginative. One of the most common theories suggests that the disc might have served a ceremonial or symbolic function. Ancient Egypt, after all, was a culture steeped in symbolism, and artifacts often represented ideas or beliefs rather than practical everyday use. The disc's careful construction and unusual form could represent a symbolic vessel, perhaps something that held ritual significance or was displayed during special occasions or ceremonies. However, skeptics of this theory point out that ceremonial items usually carry clearer symbolism or are accompanied by imagery or hieroglyphs, helping experts decipher their meaning. Yet, the Sabu disc bears no inscriptions, no known symbolic carvings, nothing that explicitly identifies its purpose. Thus, if it were indeed ceremonial, its meaning is deeply hidden or lost entirely. This absence of clear symbolism has led other experts to propose a more practical function. Some suggest it might have been a mechanical component, perhaps part of a larger device. Its carefully balanced shape and blades indeed give it an appearance reminiscent of a fan or propeller. Supporters of this idea propose it could have been attached to a central axle, spinning as part of some ancient mechanism, perhaps for mixing or ventilating air. Although fascinating, this theory struggles with historical context. As far as we know, no mechanical devices or similar rotating artifacts have been found from such an early period in ancient Egypt, leaving this hypothesis speculative at best. On the more conservative side, some archaeologists have suggested it might simply be a decorative object, an impressive display piece made by an artisan demonstrating skill, wealth, or status. Ancient Egyptians were fond of creating objects solely for their aesthetic beauty or as a symbol of power without any additional practical function. However, critics of this theory ask a valid question. Why create something so intricate, so delicate, and so technically demanding merely as decoration? The disk's complexity seems excessive for something that simply sat on a shelf or adorned a tomb. Adding further to its mystery, modern engineers and stone carvers have weighed in, attempting to recreate the disk using only ancient techniques and tools. These attempts highlight just how challenging the Sabu disk's craftsmanship is. Achieving the precise curves, uniform thickness, and overall balance is not only time-consuming, but incredibly difficult, even with modern equipment. This raises intriguing questions about the skills and techniques of early Egyptian artisans, hinting that their knowledge of stone carving was far more advanced than previously thought. Today, the Sabu disk resides in Cairo's Egyptian Museum, displayed prominently yet quietly puzzling visitors and researchers alike. Despite numerous studies and countless hours of debate, its true purpose remains unknown, making it one of ancient Egypt's genuine unsolved mysteries. Visitors to the museum often pause by the glass case, peering thoughtfully at this odd stone disk, captivated by its strange elegance, and quietly amused by its defiance of clear explanation. For archaeologists and historians, the Sabu disk represents both the joy and frustration inherent in their work. Each new artifact offers a piece of the puzzle, a window into ancient life. Yet occasionally, artifacts like this one appear, pieces that refuse to fit neatly, challenging our understanding and reminding us how much still lies undiscovered. Perhaps someday, another excavation in the shifting sands of Egypt might unearth a similar object, shedding new light on the Sabu disk's intended purpose. Until then, this curious artifact patiently awaits an answer, a silent reminder that our ancestors possessed abilities, ideas, and intentions we have yet to fully grasp. Whatever its true purpose, ceremonial object, mechanical part, or simply an artisan's masterpiece, the Sabu disk remains undeniably fascinating. It stands in the intersection between what we know and what remains unknown, a testament to human creativity and an enduring mystery that will continue to tease our curiosity from behind its museum glass for centuries to come. The Gujian sword is an artifact from ancient China that has fascinated historians and researchers since its discovery. It emerged unexpectedly during archaeological excavations in 1965 near Jingzhou, in China's Hubei province. Archaeologists uncovered the sword within a tomb dating back to the Spring and Autumn period, 771 to 476 BC, associated with the ancient state of Chu. While many objects from this era typically show heavy corrosion, this sword was found remarkably preserved, sealed in a wooden scabbard, and housed within a tomb chamber alongside bronze and jade artifacts. The sword itself measures approximately 55 centimeters in length, weighing just under a kilogram. Crafted from bronze, it has maintained extraordinary sharpness despite being buried underground for roughly 2,500 years. During initial examinations, experts discovered that the blade could easily cut through stacks of paper, demonstrating sharpness rarely preserved in bronze artifacts from similar periods. Additionally, its surface showed minimal signs of corrosion, making its preservation particularly unusual. Researchers have carefully analyzed the sword's metal composition to understand how it resisted decay. They found it was crafted from a bronze alloy consisting mainly of copper with smaller amounts of tin and trace amounts of lead, iron, and sulfur. Metallurgical studies suggest that this specific combination of elements contributed significantly to its resistance to rust and helped maintain its sharpness. While advanced for its time, similar bronze compositions have been noted in other Chinese artifacts, suggesting skilled metallurgical knowledge among artisans during that era. Apart from its practical characteristics, the Gujian sword displays intricate decorative features. The surface is finely patterned with geometric shapes, including diamond-like motifs and symmetrical designs that were typical of elite bronze objects from ancient China. Notably, near the sword's handle, 8 ancient Chinese characters were found clearly engraved. These inscriptions translated to "King of Yue made this sword for personal use," strongly linking the artifact to Gujian, an influential ruler of the Yue state who reigned from around 496 to 465 BC. This direct historical connection has made the sword an especially valuable find for historians studying China's early dynastic history. King Gujian was a significant historical figure known primarily for his determination and military prowess. Historical texts describe Gujian as a ruler who endured years of hardship following defeat in battle against the rival state of Wu. After years of careful planning, Gujian eventually restored Yue's power and prominence. A finely crafted sword such as this likely symbolized royal authority, wealth, and possibly military strength. However, it's unclear whether Gujian himself personally used the sword in battle, or if it served primarily ceremonial functions, as a status symbol, or as an object presented to demonstrate his wealth and power. In the broader context of ancient Chinese weaponry, the Gujian sword shares similarities with other high-status bronze blades discovered in tombs from the same era. Elite burials often included meticulously crafted weapons to signify the deceased's high rank. Comparisons to other contemporary swords suggest the Gujian sword's remarkable preservation might have resulted from an exceptional burial environment. The tightly sealed wooden scabbard and favorable conditions within the tomb likely contributed significantly to its survival, limiting its exposure to moisture and air. The ancient metalworking techniques that created this sword remain partly mysterious, but archaeologists recognize the sophistication of artisans from the period. Bronze smiths in ancient China had already mastered alloy manipulation, carefully controlling furnace temperatures, and the mixing of metals to produce strong, durable tools and weapons. Though modern technology could replicate the sword's composition today, researchers remain impressed by the precision and consistency achieved by ancient craftspeople, working entirely by hand. Currently, the Gujian sword resides in the Hubei Provincial Museum, displayed carefully in controlled conditions designed to protect its condition. Visitors can view it behind protective glass, providing an opportunity to appreciate this tangible piece of Chinese history. Due to its clear inscriptions and well-documented discovery, the sword offers a rare and direct link to a known historical figure, which enhances its cultural significance. Its discovery also underscores the capabilities of ancient Chinese metalworkers, highlighting their skill in producing weapons that could stand the test of time. Still, certain aspects remain unexplained. Researchers continue to debate why this particular alloy has resisted corrosion better than other artifacts found in similar tomb conditions. While its preservation seems likely due to careful burial and alloy composition, the exact details of these ancient methods are partially lost to time. Without specific written records detailing the sword's production methods, historians can only piece together information from analysis and context. Today, the Gujian sword stands as an important cultural artifact for China, reflecting both historical craftsmanship and the complexity of the ancient society that produced it. Although its durability and sharpness attract attention, its real value lies in the clear historical connections it provides. As researchers continue to study the sword, they hope to uncover additional insights into ancient Chinese metallurgy and craftsmanship techniques, possibly revealing more about the people who forged and wielded these extraordinary artifacts. Moving away from ancient Chinese craftsmanship, our journey takes us across the globe, landing in the windswept highlands of Bolivia. Here lies one of South America's most puzzling archaeological sites, Pumapunku, a place whose precisely carved stones and mysterious architectural style have drawn countless historians, archaeologists, and curious visitors alike. Located near Lake Titicaca, within the sprawling archaeological complex of Tiwanaku, Pumapunku sits approximately 3,850 meters above sea level. The name itself translates to Door of the Puma in the local Aymara language, though the reasons behind this evocative name remain uncertain. While Tiwanaku is a famous tourist attraction, bustling with guided tours and photography sessions, Pumapunku quietly captivates visitors with its uniquely precise stonework and unanswered historical questions. Pumapunku first caught the attention of modern researchers in the early 20th century, although locals had known of its existence long before that. Archaeologists studying the area quickly realized this was no ordinary ruin. Unlike typical pre-Columbian structures, built primarily from softer stones or sun-dried bricks, Pumapunku features huge, intricately carved stone blocks, carefully fashioned from extremely hard andesite and sandstone. Many of these stones weigh several tons each, some reaching upwards of 100 tons, raising questions about how ancient builders transported and shaped them. One of the most striking aspects of Pumapunku is the incredible precision of its stonework. Some stones feature perfectly straight edges, right angles, and even grooves and holes drilled with remarkable accuracy. Visitors examining the blocks up close often remark that they resemble stones cut with modern machinery. Indeed, modern stone cutters and engineers have expressed amazement at the site's craftsmanship, acknowledging the immense difficulty in achieving such precision with the technology believed available at the time. Yet, this extraordinary craftsmanship leaves historians facing a challenging puzzle. The Tiwanaku civilization, which flourished between roughly 500 and 950 AD, is generally credited with building Pumapunku. At its peak, the Tiwanaku culture was highly sophisticated, known for agricultural innovations, advanced pottery, and impressive ceremonial centers. However, no direct historical records detailing their construction methods have survived, making it difficult to definitively understand how these ancient builders achieved such precision. This uncertainty has given rise to a variety of theories, some grounded in archaeology, others more speculative. Conventional archaeologists suggest that the Tiwanaku people employed an impressive combination of hand tools made of copper and bronze, possibly using abrasives like sand to shape and polish the stones meticulously. Large teams of laborers, utilizing ropes, ramps, and sledges, could have transported and positioned these heavy blocks, a feat that required careful planning, organization, and perhaps decades of effort. Still, alternative theories frequently emerge due to the site's seemingly impossible stone-cutting precision. Some have proposed that Pumapunku might indicate lost ancient technologies or even forgotten construction methods that vanished with the collapse of the Tiwanaku civilization. Such speculations often gain attention, but lack solid archaeological backing, leaving scholars divided on their credibility. The unusual style and arrangement of the stones also distinguish Pumapunku from nearby Tiwanaku structures. While the rest of Tiwanaku predominantly features large temples, ceremonial platforms, and gateways built from carefully placed but generally simpler stones, Pumapunku showcases a unique layout of scattered, complex blocks. These stones appear as if they were part of a sophisticated, modular assembly designed to interlock seamlessly, almost like pieces of a massive stone puzzle. This has prompted many researchers to suggest the site might have served an especially important or specialized function. Precisely what that function was, however, remains unknown. Archaeologists have speculated widely, suggesting possibilities such as a royal palace, a ceremonial complex, an astronomical observatory, or even a highly symbolic religious site. Many of Pumapunku's stones feature geometric patterns and intricate carvings, including shapes reminiscent of symbols or possibly even early forms of communication, though their exact meanings remain undeciphered. The sudden abandonment of Pumapunku adds another layer to its mystery. Around the 10th century, the Tiwanaku civilization inexplicably collapsed, leaving behind unfinished construction projects and abandoning established settlements. Climate change, drought, internal conflict, and resource depletion are among the most cited reasons by historians studying Tiwanaku's fall. Yet, without clear historical records, pinpointing the exact cause for abandonment remains difficult. Today, visitors to Pumapunku can observe partially finished stone blocks and scattered building materials, a silent testament to the abrupt halt of construction. Culturally, Pumapunku holds significant value in Bolivia, recognized as a heritage site representing the advanced engineering and organizational capabilities of pre-Columbian civilizations. Its stones have influenced contemporary Bolivian culture, inspiring admiration for indigenous historical achievements and contributing to national pride. The Bolivian government and various cultural organizations have made efforts to protect and preserve the site, ensuring its continued study and appreciation. The site's unexplained aspects also attract considerable global attention. Documentaries, books, and numerous online forums discuss Pumapunku frequently, each contributing different theories and interpretations. While some theories stretch credibility, they reflect the natural curiosity sparked by these extraordinary stone constructions, capturing the public's imagination and fostering ongoing interest. Comparing Pumapunku to other notable ancient sites worldwide, we see similarities and differences that provide valuable context. For instance, structures like Stonehenge in England, or the massive stone walls at Sacsayhuaman in Peru, also required impressive feats of engineering and organization. Yet, Pumapunku stands out due to its intricate, machine-like precision and modular appearance, distinguishing it even among remarkable ancient sites. Modern technological studies, including laser scanning and detailed archaeological surveys, have offered additional insights, but have yet to provide definitive answers. Researchers using advanced methods confirm the precision of Pumapunku's stone carvings, but cannot fully explain how such accuracy was achieved. Today, as archaeologists continue excavations and studies at Pumapunku and the broader Tiwanaku complex, they hope to uncover additional clues that may someday solve its puzzles. Until then, this remarkable Bolivian site continues to captivate, inviting both serious academic inquiry and the casual curiosity of visitors worldwide, each drawn by the same desire to understand just how and why these ancient stones were shaped, assembled, and ultimately left behind. Shifting away from the high-altitude mysteries of Bolivia, we now travel across the Atlantic and into Europe, specifically to central Germany. Here, beneath rolling hills and farmland, archaeologists stumbled upon one of the most intriguing Bronze Age artifacts ever discovered, the Nebra sky disk. Unlike monumental stone structures, the disk's significance lies in its detailed depiction of celestial bodies and the mysteries surrounding its origin and use. In 1999, treasure hunters armed with metal detectors were exploring the Ziegelrode forest near the town of Nebra in Saxony-Anhalt, Germany. Rather than ancient coins or common metal relics, their equipment alerted them to something far more unusual. Buried approximately 30 centimeters underground was a peculiar bronze disc, measuring around 32 centimeters in diameter, with shimmering gold symbols arranged across its surface. The disc soon found its way onto the black market, quietly exchanging hands among antiquities dealers. Luckily, authorities intervened in 2002, recovering it through a carefully planned sting operation in Basel, Switzerland. Once in the hands of researchers, it quickly became clear this object was no ordinary Bronze Age find. It was something remarkable. Visually, the Nebra sky disk is striking. Its face is primarily bronze, adorned with gold inlays depicting celestial symbols. Most prominent among these is a crescent moon and what appears to be a full moon or possibly the sun. Surrounding these are scattered dots of gold, representing stars, along with two distinct gold bands along its edges. These symbols seem carefully arranged, clearly intended to convey specific information rather than merely decorative patterns. Detailed analysis by astronomers revealed an unexpected accuracy in the disk's celestial depiction. The arrangement of symbols matches closely with astronomical observations of the night sky over Central Europe roughly 3,600 years ago. The crescent and adjacent moon or sun indicate lunar phases, while the scattered dots correlate with known star formations. Most notably, one grouping is believed to represent the Pleiades, a star cluster historically significant for ancient societies in tracking seasonal changes. This level of celestial detail indicates the creators possessed significant astronomical knowledge and observational skills unusual for the era. While Bronze Age cultures were certainly familiar with basic astronomical concepts, the Nebra sky disk suggests a more sophisticated understanding, possibly used for marking important seasonal events, such as planting or harvest times. Some scholars theorize it could have functioned as an early form of calendar, a navigational tool, or even a device used in ceremonial rituals tied to celestial events. Indeed, understanding the purpose behind the disk remains challenging, primarily because no written records accompany it. Many archaeologists lean toward a ceremonial interpretation, suggesting it may have served ritualistic purposes connected to agricultural cycles. Alignments depicted on the disk correlate with the solstices and equinoxes, critical periods in agrarian societies. Ceremonies and rituals during these times were common, celebrating agricultural productivity and seasonal cycles. Yet other scholars propose a navigational function, suggesting ancient travelers might have relied on the disk to guide them using celestial markers. Bronze Age trade networks were expansive, stretching across Europe, and celestial navigation would have been practical. The disk's portability and precise astronomical depiction lend credibility to this interpretation. Educational purposes are also possible. Ancient societies often sought to pass down critical knowledge about farming, hunting, and survival through oral storytelling or visual representations. The Nebra sky disk could have served as a teaching tool, illustrating the movement of celestial bodies to younger generations in an easily understandable way. Its detailed yet clear symbolism would have been perfect for instruction, ensuring astronomical knowledge remained intact through generations. However, debates surrounding the Nebra sky disk are not limited solely to its intended purpose. Since its recovery, questions about its authenticity and exact age have sparked lively academic debates. Initial radiocarbon dating placed associated artifacts around 1600 BCE, strongly indicating a Bronze Age origin. Yet, some critics argue that the disk's exceptional condition and unique imagery suggest a more recent fabrication or alteration. The primary argument against authenticity stems from its almost unprecedented sophistication compared to other known artifacts from the same period. Bronze Age societies typically left behind less intricate celestial depictions, usually restricted to carvings or simple alignments in stone circles. Such an advanced representation in metalwork is unique, and thus invites skepticism. Nevertheless, detailed metallurgical studies have confirmed the disk's ancient origins. Chemical analysis identified the bronze alloy and gold sources as consistent with known Bronze Age mining and metallurgy practices in the region. Adding weight to its authenticity are the other artifacts found alongside the disk: bronze swords, axes, and bracelets, all convincingly dated to the same period. Archaeological excavations conducted after the initial recovery also verified the original find site, further solidifying the disk's historical authenticity. Today, the Nebra sky disk resides in the State Museum of Prehistory in Halle, Germany, where it is displayed prominently. Visitors to the museum can view it behind protective glass, illuminated carefully to highlight its delicate gold detailing. The disk has become a cultural icon, celebrated as a remarkable symbol of Bronze Age knowledge and skill. It features prominently in exhibitions and educational programs, emphasizing its importance for understanding early European societies. The Nebra sky disk also draws comparisons to other significant ancient celestial artifacts worldwide. It shares similarities with the Antikythera mechanism discovered off the Greek coast, another object highlighting unexpected ancient astronomical knowledge. Although separated by centuries and cultural contexts, both objects suggest sophisticated celestial observation was a widespread practice in the ancient world, not restricted to well-known civilizations such as Egypt or Mesopotamia. Despite extensive studies and careful preservation, certain mysteries around the disc remain unresolved. For instance, who exactly created the disc? The culture associated with its construction remains uncertain, as multiple groups inhabited the region during that era. Similarly, how exactly the creators acquired such precise astronomical knowledge continues to intrigue researchers. Ongoing studies combining astronomy, archaeology, and historical research hope to clarify these remaining questions. Ultimately, the Nebra Sky Disk's value lies in its concrete historical insights. It demonstrates clearly that Bronze Age societies in Europe had deeper knowledge of astronomy than previously understood, reshaping historical assumptions about the sophistication of these ancient communities. The disk's discovery also highlights the importance of protecting archaeological sites from illicit activities, as looting could have easily led to this remarkable artifact being lost forever. For now, museum visitors and researchers alike continue to marvel at the Nebra Sky Disk's celestial imagery and craftsmanship, aware that its precise origins and purpose may remain partially hidden. Yet, this uncertainty only enhances its allure, making it one of Europe's most intriguing archaeological discoveries. Traveling from the rolling hills of central Germany to the sun-baked sands of Egypt, we encounter yet another archaeological enigma, the massive black sarcophagi found within the Serapeum of Saqqara. Located near the Step Pyramid of Djoser, the Serapeum is a network of underground tunnels and chambers carved into the bedrock, designed specifically to house these enormous granite coffins. Since its discovery, this subterranean labyrinth has fascinated archaeologists and puzzled visitors alike, primarily because of the sheer scale, complexity, and precision of the sarcophagi stored within. The Serapeum was initially uncovered in 1850 by French archaeologist Auguste Mariette. Mariette had been searching for ancient Egyptian artifacts when he stumbled upon a mysterious avenue of sphinxes, leading him directly to the hidden underground complex. Excavating deeper into the tunnels, his team unearthed one of the most extraordinary and unexpected finds in Egyptian archaeology: 24 gigantic sarcophagi carved from single blocks of granite or basalt, each weighing anywhere from 60 to over 100 tons. What immediately stood out about these coffins wasn't just their immense size, but their incredible craftsmanship and near-perfect symmetry. Each sarcophagus was precisely cut and polished, featuring flawless edges, straight lines, and smooth surfaces, almost as if shaped by modern machines. The lids, some weighing as much as 30 tons themselves, fit so precisely onto the sarcophagi bases that even today, slipping a thin sheet of paper between them is virtually impossible. Historians quickly identified the Serapeum as a burial place associated with the sacred Apis bulls, an animal revered in ancient Egypt as a manifestation of the god Ptah. Upon their death, these revered bulls were mummified and ceremonially buried. Initially, archaeologists assumed the massive sarcophagi were simply elaborate burial chambers meant for these sacred bulls. However, the mystery deepened when researchers opened several of these coffins, only to discover they were empty, with no sign of bull remains, inscriptions, or offerings typically found in Egyptian tombs. This curious emptiness has sparked debates among Egyptologists and historians about the actual purpose behind the Serapeum's monumental sarcophagi. The traditional viewpoint holds that these were indeed intended for ceremonial burials. Proponents argue that despite being found empty, these sarcophagi were ceremonial receptacles, possibly emptied by tomb robbers in antiquity, or even prepared symbolically, representing a connection between the bulls and the divine. Yet this interpretation leaves many questions unanswered. Critics of the ceremonial burial theory point to several puzzling factors. First, the sheer precision of the sarcophagi far exceeds that typically observed in purely ceremonial Egyptian artifacts. Egyptian craftsmen were undoubtedly skilled, but the level of symmetry and polished perfection found here surpasses even the most sophisticated ancient tombs. Second, the transportation and placement of these massive stone coffins pose logistical challenges. With some sarcophagi weighing over 100 tons, moving them through narrow underground corridors and positioning them accurately within the chambers required methods and engineering skills that remain uncertain today. This has given rise to alternative theories proposing that the sarcophagi might have had more functional purposes, possibly technological rather than purely ceremonial. Some researchers speculate that the Serapeum served as a kind of ancient storage facility, designed to protect important materials or items from external elements. Proponents suggest that the precision construction and airtight sealing could have been intentional, possibly used to store organic substances, precious texts, or ceremonial objects intended to be protected indefinitely. Supporters of this hypothesis point to similar examples elsewhere in ancient Egypt, such as secure chambers beneath temples that stored valuable scrolls or ceremonial oils. However, these theories remain speculative due to the lack of physical evidence or surviving documentation explicitly describing the sarcophag's function. While intriguing, these technological storage theories currently exist primarily within alternative historical interpretations, drawing skepticism from mainstream archaeologists. Another ongoing mystery involves the construction techniques employed to shape, transport, and install these enormous stone coffins. Granite and basalt, both used in crafting these sarcophagi, are extremely hard stones, difficult to work with, even by today's standards. Shaping and polishing granite to such precise dimensions and smoothness would require advanced cutting tools, methods, and considerable time. Ancient Egyptian artisans were capable, certainly, but questions linger about the exact tools and methods utilized to achieve such precision on such massive scales. Transporting these massive coffins into the underground Serapeum chambers posed another challenge. The corridors of the Serapeum are narrow, winding, and steep in certain sections. Modern engineers examining the site suggest that maneuvering objects of this size would require advanced knowledge of logistics, mechanics, and coordinated labor. Egyptian records provide limited insight into these processes, leaving historians to theorize about ramps, levers, ropes, and rollers as possible transportation methods. Still, replicating such a feat remains difficult even with modern machinery, leading some to speculate about lost engineering methods or knowledge possessed by ancient Egyptians. Today, the Serapeum continues to attract visitors and researchers, drawn by curiosity about its enigmatic sarcophagi and their unanswered mysteries. Visitors walking through the dimly lit, stone-carved tunnels are often struck by the silence, interrupted only by quiet murmurs of wonder and the occasional footsteps echoing off stone walls. Tourists and researchers alike marvel at the size, precision, and mystery these coffins embody, sensing the ancient ingenuity required for their construction. The cultural significance of the Serapeum extends beyond archaeological curiosity. It reflects Egypt's historical reverence for the Apis bull as a deity's embodiment and highlights the impressive lengths ancient Egyptians went to honor their religious and cultural beliefs. Its intricate construction also serves as an enduring testament to the capabilities and sophistication of ancient Egyptian craftsmanship. Efforts continue today to understand more clearly the techniques and intentions behind the Serapeum's massive sarcophagi. Advanced imaging technologies and non-invasive archaeological methods have been employed, attempting to discover hidden details or previously overlooked inscriptions. Despite these efforts, much remains unknown about who exactly constructed the Serapeum, why such precision was necessary, and what exactly these massive coffins were intended to hold. Ultimately, the Serapeum of Saqqara stands as one of ancient Egypt's most intriguing unsolved puzzles. Its massive black sarcophagi challenge our understanding of ancient construction techniques and leave open intriguing possibilities regarding their true purpose. Yet perhaps the most engaging aspect of the Serapeum is precisely its persistent mystery. With every new discovery or archaeological development, the site continues to invite speculation, curiosity, and admiration from all who visit or study it, quietly preserving its secrets beneath the sands of Egypt. Stepping away from the monumental mysteries of ancient Egypt, we turn our attention to something far smaller, but no less baffling. Stored safely in Yale University's Beinecke Rare Book Library, there lies a peculiar medieval text known as the Voynich manuscript. This unique book, with its intriguing blend of mysterious language and elaborate illustrations, has resisted every attempt at decoding for more than a century, earning it a reputation as the world's most enigmatic book. The manuscript first came to public attention in 1912, when an antiquarian book dealer named Wilfrid Voynich acquired it. Voynich was a seasoned collector who specialized in rare texts, yet even he recognized immediately that this particular manuscript was something extraordinary. Although its earlier history remains somewhat murky, Voynich claimed the manuscript had once belonged to Emperor Rudolf II, the 16th century ruler of the Holy Roman Empire, known for his love of alchemy and rare curiosities. Physically, the Voynich manuscript isn't imposing. Measuring roughly 23 by 16 centimeters, it resembles any typical medieval book, except its contents are anything but ordinary. Comprised of around 240 pages of vellum, the manuscript features hundreds of strange illustrations interspersed with text written in an unknown script. While the exact age remains debated, radiocarbon dating conducted by Yale University placed its creation between approximately 1404 and 1438, firmly situating it within the late medieval era. Flipping through its pages, readers encounter vivid and detailed illustrations depicting an unusual blend of subjects. There are drawings of exotic-looking plants, intricate astronomical diagrams, bizarrely shaped creatures, and even elaborate bathing scenes featuring groups of unclothed figures engaging in activities within complex networks of pipes and pools. Many of these images seem familiar, yet subtly distorted, as if viewed through the lens of another world entirely. But perhaps more puzzling than the illustrations themselves is the manuscript's text. The script, often referred to as Voynichese, consists of carefully formed characters that resemble alphabetic letters. They flow neatly across the pages, arranged in paragraphs and short captions accompanying the illustrations. The writing looks like it should be easily readable. However, when linguists and cryptographers have attempted to decode it, they've repeatedly hit dead ends. No known language or code has matched its patterns convincingly, and despite decades of dedicated research, it stubbornly refuses interpretation. Naturally, this persistent mystery has sparked considerable speculation among historians, cryptographers, and curious amateurs alike. Theories about the Voynich manuscript's origins and purpose range widely, from scholarly analysis to imaginative conjecture. One popular theory suggests the manuscript could be written in an intentionally coded language, a cipher or secret code created to conceal sensitive information. The medieval period was full of intrigue, alchemical secrets, and religious conflicts, and encryption was commonly employed by those wishing to hide knowledge. Some researchers have proposed that the manuscript might contain alchemical recipes, medical remedies, or astronomical knowledge concealed to protect the author's insights. Yet despite rigorous attempts employing advanced computer-aided cryptographic analysis, no one has conclusively cracked its code. Another possibility is that the manuscript represents the remnants of a lost language, or previously undocumented dialect. Europe's medieval period was linguistically diverse, and some languages and scripts have undoubtedly been lost to history. The illustrations, especially those depicting plants, seem plausible as attempts to document real botanical specimens, perhaps suggesting a scientific or medicinal context. However, despite identifying similarities between some illustrations and known plants, botanists have struggled to definitively link them to real species, leaving open the possibility that the illustrations depict imaginary or symbolic flora. In recent decades, a more skeptical viewpoint has emerged, suggesting the Voynich manuscript may simply be an elaborate hoax. Advocates of this theory propose that a medieval or Renaissance-era individual deliberately created the manuscript to deceive or entertain, inventing an imaginary language and fantastical images as an intellectual or artistic exercise. Historians acknowledge that medieval society was no stranger to cryptic texts, artistic hoaxes, and carefully constructed puzzles. But critics argue the sheer effort required to craft such an extensive and detailed manuscript without a clear audience or purpose seems implausible. More colorful theories occasionally surface, connecting the manuscript to lost civilizations, alien encounters, or secret societies, though these lack concrete evidence and tend to receive less serious academic attention. Still, their persistence illustrates the widespread fascination and imaginative speculation the manuscript continues to inspire. Modern researchers haven't been idle in attempting to unravel the Voynich manuscript's mysteries. In recent years, teams of linguists, cryptographers, and historians have applied advanced computational analyses to the text. In 2019, researchers from the University of Bristol published a study suggesting the text showed linguistic patterns consistent with genuine languages rather than random gibberish. Despite this promising insight, no translation emerged. In 2020, another prominent attempt made headlines when German Egyptologist Rainer Hannig proposed that the manuscript was written in Hebrew script, encoded using a complex cipher. Hannig's claim briefly raised hopes of a breakthrough, but other scholars quickly pointed out serious flaws, leaving the manuscript as undeciphered as ever. Advances in artificial intelligence and computational linguistics have brought new tools to the table, allowing researchers to analyze the manuscript's linguistic structure and patterns more thoroughly than ever before. Some studies suggest that Voynichese behaves similarly to natural languages, with consistent word frequencies and recurring structures. Yet despite these promising findings, an accurate translation or interpretation continues to elude even the most sophisticated modern techniques. Today, the Voynich manuscript remains safely housed at Yale, carefully preserved under climate-controlled conditions. Public interest remains high, and the manuscript attracts curious scholars, amateur cryptographers, and the occasional conspiracy theorist alike. The Beinecke Library frequently receives inquiries, requests for images, and even suggested translations from around the world, highlighting the enduring fascination this strange text inspires. Interestingly, the manuscript's significance extends beyond its linguistic mysteries. Scholars value it as a cultural artifact, a tangible example of medieval bookmaking, artistic style, and intellectual curiosity. Detailed studies of its illustrations reveal fascinating insights into medieval iconography, cultural symbolism, and perceptions of the natural world. Regardless of whether its text ever becomes readable, the manuscript offers a valuable window into the medieval imagination. Currently, the Voynich manuscript continues to inspire academic interest and study. Linguists, historians, and cryptographers regularly convene at conferences and workshops dedicated to unraveling its mysteries. Digital scans and detailed photographs are widely accessible online, enabling collaborative research among global experts. Each year, new hypotheses and analyses emerge, fueling hopes for eventual clarity. Yet despite intensive study, many fundamental questions remain. Who created this manuscript, and why? Is its text genuinely meaningful or deliberately nonsensical? Can modern cryptographic or computational methods ultimately decipher it, or will it remain permanently unreadable? Moving from the puzzling pages of the Voynich manuscript, we return to Egypt, a civilization whose craftsmanship frequently astonishes, especially when we consider their earliest artifacts. Among the most impressive of these early Egyptian relics are the pre-dynastic granite vases, small yet extraordinary objects that showcase astonishing precision and craftsmanship far ahead of their time. These elegant vases date back as far as 5,000 years ago, predating even the famous pyramids. Many were discovered during excavations in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, often placed carefully within tombs alongside important Egyptian nobles and elites. The artifacts themselves are beautiful, perfectly proportioned stone vessels, crafted primarily from granite, diorite, basalt, and other incredibly hard stone types. What immediately stands out is their delicate symmetry and flawless construction, displaying a level of precision typically associated with later historical periods. One of the most notable features of these vases is their extremely thin walls, often measuring mere millimeters thick. When considering the hardness of granite and similar stones, achieving such thinness without cracking or breaking would have required considerable skill and care. Modern stone carvers, equipped with advanced power tools and diamond-tipped drills, still find it challenging to replicate the precision of these ancient artifacts. This has led many scholars to question how ancient Egyptians managed to achieve such remarkable craftsmanship with supposedly primitive tools. Historians have carefully studied surviving ancient Egyptian toolkits, discovering copper chisels, stone mallets, and flint drills among their typical equipment. Yet, even copper tools, though effective for softer stones or carving basic shapes, would quickly dull or deform against granite and basalt. This apparent gap in capability has sparked considerable debate among archaeologists and engineers about how exactly these delicate vases were crafted. Theories often center around the use of abrasive materials, such as sand or crushed quartz, combined with copper drill bits to gradually hollow out and smooth these tough stones. Experimental archaeology has provided useful insights into possible ancient techniques. Modern researchers have recreated these vases using basic copper tools paired with abrasive sand and water, gradually grinding down the hard stone. This slow and meticulous process, however, requires tremendous patience and skill. Even experienced craftspeople today note the difficulty involved in consistently maintaining the precise symmetry and thinness seen in original pre-dynastic vases. The question naturally arises regarding the purpose behind these finely made objects. Given their frequent discovery in elite tombs, some archaeologists suggest they served primarily as ceremonial or funerary items. Ancient Egyptians held strong beliefs about the afterlife, often burying their dead alongside objects intended to be useful in the next world. These stone vases may have contained oils, perfumes, or other valuable substances offered as grave goods, symbolizing wealth and status, while their delicate craftsmanship demonstrated reverence and respect for the deceased. Indeed, the sheer effort and resources necessary for crafting these vases suggest they held significant cultural value, far exceeding mere everyday use. Such finely worked stone objects were likely expensive, indicating their owners were part of society's upper echelons. Their presence in burial chambers further supports the notion that they symbolized prestige and status, representing the deceased individual's importance within their community. However, practical uses cannot be entirely ruled out. Ancient Egyptian society was highly organized, engaging in sophisticated trade networks and craft production. The durability and non-porous nature of stone vases would have been ideal for storing valuable liquids such as perfumes, essential oils, or medicinal substances. Given that the Nile region was rich in resources like oils and resins, prized substances used both domestically and ceremonially, these vessels may also have functioned practically in storing and transporting precious commodities. Yet even if used practically, the exceptional artistry involved points clearly to a secondary symbolic or status-driven purpose. The very possession of such an object would have communicated wealth, power, and refinement. It's easy to imagine an ancient Egyptian noble proudly displaying such finely crafted vessels during social or religious gatherings, subtly communicating their prestige to visitors. Adding to their intrigue, these pre-dynastic vases frequently display consistent shapes and designs, indicating standardized production methods. While each vase is individually carved, their similarity in size and proportion suggests some form of organized, skilled artisan community operating in ancient Egypt well before recorded history. This hints at the existence of specialized craftspeople or workshops, perhaps even early guild-like structures, carefully passing down sophisticated techniques through generations. Another remarkable detail is the polished finish of these artifacts. Not only were they thin-walled and symmetrical, but they were also finely polished to achieve a smooth, glass-like texture. Achieving this would have involved additional meticulous labor using fine abrasives like sand, powdered quartz, or even animal hide to achieve their distinctive sheen. Today, pre-dynastic granite vases can be viewed in various museum collections worldwide, including the Cairo Museum and the British Museum. Visitors often remark on their beauty, surprised that such delicacy and skill existed so far back in Egyptian history. Although overshadowed by later monumental achievements like the pyramids and temples, these small stone vases stand as evidence of an advanced artistic tradition and remarkable craftsmanship, present from Egypt's earliest days. While significant progress has been made in understanding the methods and potential uses of these vases, some aspects remain elusive. The exact details of their manufacturing process, the nature of the craftsmen who made them, and their role within early Egyptian society still prompt considerable academic discussion and research. Nonetheless, their historical importance and aesthetic beauty ensure they remain captivating and valuable artifacts, providing tangible evidence of ancient Egyptian ingenuity and sophistication at a very early stage of civilization. Traveling from the ancient Egyptian deserts, we now shift our focus southward, journeying to the lush and rugged landscapes of South Africa. Here, nestled near the small town of Lydenburg in the province of Mpumalanga, a remarkable archaeological discovery was made, one that continues to intrigue historians and anthropologists to this day. Known simply as the Lydenburg heads, these distinctive ceramic artifacts offer a rare glimpse into the creativity and culture of an ancient South African community. The story of the Lydenburg heads begins somewhat by chance, as many archaeological finds often do. In 1957, a young schoolboy named Carl Ludwig von Basing was exploring his family's farmland near Lydenburg when he stumbled upon pieces of pottery protruding from an eroded hillside. Rather than dismissing them as mere fragments of everyday crockery, the young Carl Ludwig carefully collected these unusual pottery shards, sensing they might be significant. After notifying experts at the University of Cape Town, professional archaeologists visited the site and realized they had something unique on their hands. Ultimately, archaeologists unearthed 7 hollow ceramic heads, believed to have been crafted around the 6th century AD, placing them approximately 1,400 years old. The heads vary in size, the largest being roughly life-sized, while others are smaller and more compact. Each head is constructed from carefully molded clay, fired to durability, and features distinctly detailed facial characteristics. Prominent eyes, clearly defined noses, and expressive mouths give the artifacts striking personalities, even though their precise function remains uncertain. A particularly captivating aspect of the Lydenburg heads is their decoration. Detailed patterns cover their surfaces, created using clay strips and tiny punctures, likely made with sharpened tools or sticks. These patterns form geometric designs and linear motifs reminiscent of tribal art forms found elsewhere in southern Africa. The intricate patterns and careful craftsmanship suggest the creators had a refined aesthetic sensibility and a strong symbolic or ritualistic intention behind their designs. Yet the purpose behind these intriguing ceramic heads remains unclear. Archaeologists have pondered numerous possibilities, each grounded in historical and cultural context. One popular interpretation is that the heads served as ceremonial masks, possibly worn during important rituals or community celebrations. Masks hold great cultural importance across many African societies, used to invoke ancestors, spirits, or deities during dances, ceremonies, and rites of passage. However, upon closer inspection, some researchers argue that these particular heads seem more decorative and less practical for actual wear. The lack of clear eye holes or attachment points for strings makes their usability as functional masks doubtful. Another theory suggests the Lydenburg heads might represent ancestor portraits or symbolic totems, carefully displayed during significant community rituals. In many African traditions, representing ancestors through art or sculpture is a powerful way to honor lineage, communicate with the spiritual world, or reinforce community identity. The expressive nature of these ceramic heads could reflect individual ancestors or influential community figures, with their prominent features emphasizing traits important to their society. Further complicating the interpretation is the presence of small animal figures and decorative elements incorporated into some of the heads. Some heads feature miniature sculpted cattle horns or animal-like protrusions, reflecting the cultural significance animals hold within many southern African communities. Cattle, in particular, symbolize wealth, status, and spiritual power throughout the region, suggesting these heads could have carried symbolic meanings related to prosperity or ancestral protection. Regional archaeological findings also provide context for the Lydenburg heads. During the time these ceramic artifacts were crafted, southern Africa witnessed the emergence of numerous farming communities practicing agriculture, animal husbandry, and sophisticated metallurgy. The creators of the Lydenburg heads likely belonged to one of these settled communities, possessing a rich cultural and artistic tradition. Unfortunately, without detailed historical records or written accounts, precisely identifying the creators remains challenging. Interestingly, similar ceramic artifacts have rarely been discovered in the region, making the Lydenburg heads even more exceptional. Their rarity suggests they might represent a localized cultural tradition unique to this specific area around Lydenburg. Alternatively, they may reflect broader practices widespread during their era, with most other examples simply lost to time or erosion. Since their discovery, the Lydenburg heads have been carefully studied and preserved by archaeologists. Following restoration and analysis, they were transferred to the Iziko South African Museum in Cape Town, where they currently reside. Museum visitors today can view these captivating ceramic heads in carefully climate-controlled displays designed to protect their delicate clay structures from environmental damage. They remain popular exhibits showcasing the rich artistic traditions and creativity of ancient South African communities. Ongoing research efforts occasionally revisit the Lydenburg heads, applying modern archaeological techniques to uncover new insights. Advanced imaging methods, chemical analysis of the clay, and comparisons to broader Southern African pottery traditions have deepened our understanding of their craftsmanship and cultural context. Yet despite detailed studies, the precise purpose and meaning behind these enigmatic heads remain open-ended, inviting continued curiosity and exploration. Overall, the Lydenburg heads represent a fascinating intersection of artistic skill, cultural symbolism, and archaeological mystery. Their intricate detailing, expressive faces, and uncertain origins captivate historians, anthropologists, and general audiences alike. While much remains unknown about their creators or the exact nature of their use, these ancient ceramic heads continue to offer a tangible connection to the creativity and traditions of early Southern African societies. From the expressive ceramic faces of ancient South Africa, our journey takes us now to Roman Europe, a place famous for its roads, baths, gladiators, and architecture. Yet among the countless artifacts from this civilization, one particularly odd object has confounded historians: the Roman dodecahedron. These curious artifacts, typically crafted from bronze, occasionally from stone, are hollow geometric objects with 12 flat pentagonal faces. Each face features a circular hole of varying diameter, and small spherical knobs decorate the corners where edges meet. Sizes vary from small enough to fit comfortably into your hand to slightly larger versions, yet their consistent shape and structure indicate they served a specific, intentional purpose. Since their first recorded discovery in the 18th century, around 100 of these peculiar objects have turned up across what once was the Roman Empire. They've appeared in archaeological digs scattered throughout modern-day countries like Germany, France, Switzerland, Belgium, Hungary, and even Great Britain, suggesting their use was widespread across various Roman provinces. Despite their broad geographical distribution and the consistency of their shapes and designs, not a single historical document from Roman times mentions them explicitly, leaving historians without clear evidence of their original purpose. This historical silence is particularly puzzling, given the Romans' meticulous record-keeping habits. Typically, even mundane items were documented in some form, whether through inscriptions, official records, or literary references. The dodecahedron's complete absence from historical records makes their intended use especially difficult to determine, leading researchers and enthusiasts alike to explore multiple theories, ranging from practical to whimsical. One of the more popular theories suggests the dodecahedrons might have been measuring instruments, perhaps used by craftsmen or architects. Proponents of this interpretation point to the different-sized holes on each face, proposing that these might have been used as gauges for measuring objects of varying diameters, such as rods or pipes. However, critics of this theory argue that the irregularity and imprecision of these openings, often differing slightly in shape or size from object to object, cast doubt on their effectiveness as precise measuring tools. Others speculate these items had a religious or ceremonial function. The Romans were famously superstitious, regularly consulting augurs, interpreting omens, and practicing divination. Could the Roman dodecahedron have been a tool used by priests or diviners for predicting future events? Perhaps the object was thrown or rolled during rituals, with each face and hole size representing a different omen or outcome. While intriguing, no archaeological evidence has yet supported direct ritualistic associations. No dodecahedron has been found in clear religious contexts, such as temples or burial sites, that would substantiate this theory. Yet another practical theory considers the dodecahedrons as calendars or astronomical devices. Some researchers propose the alignment of holes and knobs may have helped track celestial events, like the solstices, equinoxes, or star positions. Given the Romans' extensive knowledge of astronomy and their reliance on accurate calendars for agriculture, military campaigns, and civic planning, this possibility feels plausible. Yet without inscriptions, markings, or accompanying artifacts explicitly supporting astronomical use, the theory remains speculative. Perhaps a more humorous, though still credible theory, posits these objects as ancient gaming items or toys. The Romans enjoyed games of chance and strategy, often employing dice and other small devices to entertain themselves. Could the dodecahedrons have functioned as dice or components in a game long since forgotten? This playful idea, while entertaining, faces skepticism due to the impractical design of the knobs and differing hole sizes, neither of which seem optimized for gameplay. Another pragmatic suggestion, drawing from archaeological context, is that dodecahedrons were knitting or weaving tools. Knitting and textile production were widespread activities in Roman Europe, and small devices to assist in yarn work or create consistent stitch patterns might explain their frequent discoveries in residential contexts. Indeed, modern knitting enthusiasts have tested replicas, demonstrating the feasibility, if somewhat awkward, of using the dodecahedron to knit gloves or socks. This theory, though practical, lacks supporting imagery or textual evidence linking Roman textile production explicitly to the artifacts. In recent decades, scholarly debate has shifted toward examining the contexts of individual dodecahedron finds. Their presence in sites associated with Roman military camps has led some historians to speculate they might have been multi-purpose objects carried by soldiers, potentially for tasks ranging from measurement to entertainment. However, civilian sites have also yielded examples, complicating any strictly military interpretation. Despite numerous scholarly and popular theories, the dodecahedrons continue to defy clear categorization. Their craftsmanship, however, is undeniably Roman. Their bronze casting and distinctive decoration align with known Roman metalworking techniques from approximately the 2nd to 4th centuries AD. Archaeologists agree the objects originate from within Roman civilization, though whether they represent common household items, specialized professional tools, or something else entirely remains unclear. Today, Roman dodecahedrons are preserved and displayed in museums throughout Europe, often presented as curiosity pieces, highlighting Roman ingenuity and our persistent inability to unravel certain historical mysteries. Visitors frequently puzzle over them, and museum curators must repeatedly explain that their purpose remains uncertain. Despite intensive scholarly study, these humble yet intriguing objects continue to elude definitive interpretation, symbolizing the gaps in historical knowledge that persist even about well-documented civilizations like Rome. As archaeologists continue discovering and cataloging new examples, the potential for clarifying their purpose remains. Perhaps someday, a Roman dodecahedron will appear in a context providing clearer clues, maybe alongside tools, textiles, gaming pieces, or ritual items that finally unlock their secret. For now, though, these enigmatic Roman artifacts remain one of archaeology's quietly persistent puzzles, continuing to intrigue scholars, visitors, and anyone who encounters their peculiar shape and unyielding mystery. Stepping away from the puzzling geometry of Roman dodecahedrons, our exploration now turns to one of the oldest known narratives about human survival, a narrative found etched in clay by the ancient Sumerians. This artifact, known as the Ziusudra tablet, offers a glimpse into the earliest recorded versions of a familiar story, a great flood that threatened to extinguish humanity, and the lone man chosen to survive it. Ziusudra, the central figure of this ancient story, is often compared to biblical Noah. Both characters share striking similarities, including a devastating flood, divine warnings, and survival through the building of a great vessel. Yet, Ziusudra predates the biblical account by several centuries, making the tablet a critical piece of evidence showing how deeply rooted the flood myth is within ancient Mesopotamian culture. The Ziusudra narrative first emerged from a fragmented clay tablet discovered during archaeological excavations of the Sumerian city of Nippur, located in modern-day Iraq. The tablet itself is modest in appearance, carefully inscribed in cuneiform, an ancient wedge-shaped writing system used across Mesopotamia. Upon initial discovery, the fragmentary state of the artifact posed a challenge. Crucial sections of the text had deteriorated, leaving gaps that archaeologists and linguists continue to interpret and debate. Despite its incomplete condition, scholars quickly recognized the significance of the Ziusudra text. Dating back roughly to 1700 BCE, it provided crucial evidence of how deeply entrenched flood narratives were within ancient Near Eastern cultures. Sumerian civilization, considered one of the world's earliest advanced societies, laid foundations for later cultures such as the Babylonians, Assyrians, and eventually, the Hebrews. Thus, the Ziusudra narrative is regarded as one of the earliest written flood accounts, significantly preceding and potentially influencing later stories found in Babylonian epics and eventually the Hebrew Bible. In terms of content, the surviving portions of the Ziusudra tablet describe a divine warning given to Ziusudra, a righteous and pious king, about an impending catastrophic flood sent by the gods. The reasons for the gods' decision are not fully clear, but hints in the fragmented text suggest divine frustration with humanity's behavior, echoing similar themes seen later in Babylonian and biblical traditions. Acting upon this divine instruction, Ziusudra constructs an enormous vessel capable of carrying himself, his family, and animals to safety. When the flood finally arrives, it ravages the earth, wiping out nearly all human life. After a period of enduring heavy storms and torrential rains, Ziusudra's vessel eventually comes to rest, and upon emerging, he performs rituals of thanks, dedicating offerings to the gods. As a reward for his obedience and piety, Ziusudra receives eternal life, a detail unique compared to many later flood narratives. The tablet's emphasis on divine reward aligns with common ancient Near Eastern motifs, in which loyalty and obedience toward deities lead to divine favor and blessings. One striking aspect of the Ziusudra narrative is its clear thematic continuity with flood myths across various cultures worldwide. Similar stories are found not only in the biblical book of Genesis, but also in other Mesopotamian texts, notably the Babylonian Epic of Gilgamesh. Additionally, cultures as geographically distant as the ancient Greeks, Native Americans, Chinese, and Australian Aboriginal peoples all have their own flood stories. The Ziusudra narrative thus holds critical value as evidence supporting the universality of flood myths, potentially reflecting a widespread ancient memory or storytelling tradition centered around real catastrophic events, such as regional flooding or natural disasters. Historically, Mesopotamia, land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, was highly susceptible to catastrophic flooding. Archaeological evidence confirms periodic massive flooding, capable of destroying entire cities and settlements. Such disasters would undoubtedly have become deeply embedded in collective memory, eventually evolving into mythological narratives passed down orally, and later captured in written forms, such as the Ziusudra tablet. This historical backdrop provides important context for interpreting the Ziusudra account. While its narrative may draw from real historical floods, scholars widely agree that the text functions primarily as a religious or moral allegory, emphasizing human vulnerability, divine authority, and the importance of obedience and piety. The inclusion of eternal life as a reward emphasizes the idea of divine reward for virtue, an influential concept in ancient societies. Yet, despite widespread scholarly acceptance of the Ziusudra narrative's mythological nature, debates continue regarding the extent to which it might reflect historical reality. Some researchers propose that the flood described may correspond to particularly catastrophic historical events, such as the flooding of the Persian Gulf at the end of the last ice age, or major river floods that would have devastated early Mesopotamian settlements. However, these remain speculative connections. Concrete historical correlation remains elusive due to fragmentary archaeological evidence. Moreover, uncertainties remain regarding the Ziusudra tablet's intended purpose. While clearly serving a narrative function, the tablet may have also had religious or ceremonial uses, potentially read or recited during rituals or festivals celebrating survival, renewal, or divine favor. Such religious and moral lessons embedded within the narrative would have reinforced communal values, promoting obedience to religious and societal norms. For visitors, encountering the Ziusudra tablet in museum exhibitions, the artifact evokes powerful imagery of an ancient world profoundly shaped by nature's forces, divine beliefs, and cultural storytelling. While its precise historical accuracy remains uncertain, its enduring cultural significance is clear. The Ziusudra narrative, through its survival over thousands of years, demonstrates humanity's persistent need to understand and explain catastrophic events, reflecting broader themes of survival, renewal, and the eternal human desire to connect with the divine. Transitioning from the ancient flood myths etched in Mesopotamian clay, our next journey brings us to medieval Japan, an era rich with tales of legendary warriors, powerful samurai clans, and perhaps most intriguingly, the remarkable swords that define them. Among countless famous blades of Japanese history, none stand out quite like the Tenka-Goken, known as the Five Heavenly Swords. These swords, considered masterpieces of Japanese metallurgy and craftsmanship, are steeped in legend, historical significance, and enduring mysteries about their whereabouts. In Japanese culture, swords have always been more than mere weapons. They hold deep, symbolic importance, representing honor, authority, and the soul of a warrior. The Five Heavenly Swords are exemplary of this tradition. Crafted during Japan's Kamakura period, 1185 to 1333, these five blades were recognized not only for their exceptional quality, but also for the legendary stories and notable warriors connected to them. The swords comprising the Tenka-Goken each bear their own unique names and storied histories: Dojigiri Yasutsuna, Mikazuki Munechika, Onimaru Kunitsuna, Juzumaru Tsunetsugu, and Odenta Mitsuyo. They were forged by some of the most revered swordsmiths in Japanese history, renowned for their skill in creating blades of both beauty and lethal practicality. This period was a golden age for Japanese swordmaking, where craftsmanship reached unprecedented levels of quality. Dojigiri Yasutsuna, perhaps the most famous of the five, carries with it one of the most dramatic legends. According to tradition, this blade was wielded by the warrior Minamoto no Yorimitsu, known popularly as Raiko. Raiko is said to have slain the fearsome demon Shutendoji, who terrorized the area near Kyoto with this very sword. The blade's name, Dojigiri, translates roughly as Slayer of Doji. Commemorating its role in defeating the legendary demon, it remains preserved in excellent condition at the Tokyo National Museum, celebrated for its perfect balance, elegant curvature, and intricately tempered blade. displaying the meticulous craftsmanship of swordsmith Yasutsuna. Mikazuki Munechika is another celebrated sword within the group. Its name, Mikazuki, meaning crescent moon, reflects the graceful curved shape of its blade. Created by the master swordsmith Sanjo Munechika during the late Heian period, this sword is considered one of the finest examples of traditional Japanese sword making. It is known for its subtle yet striking appearance and unparalleled balance. Historically, Mikazuki Munechika was treasured by various powerful families, passing through generations of prominent Japanese leaders and samurai clans. Today, this legendary sword resides safely in Tokyo's National Museum, carefully protected as a national treasure. Onimaru Kunitsuna, the demon sword, has a particularly colorful tale attached. Crafted by the renowned swordsmith Kunitsuna, this blade was famously used by Hojo Tokimasa, an influential regent during the Kamakura shogunate. According to legend, the sword gained its fearsome name after Tokimasa used it to ward off or exorcise malevolent spirits troubling him at night. This legendary story gave the sword a powerful cultural resonance, symbolizing its ability to overcome evil. The sword was highly valued not only for its combat capabilities, but also as a protective talisman. Despite its fame, Onimaru Kunitsuna's current whereabouts are uncertain, leading some historians to speculate it may have been lost, destroyed, or remains privately held by an unknown collector. Juzumaru Tsunetsugu, crafted by the famous smith Tsunetsugu, is historically linked with Nichiren, the influential Buddhist priest who founded Nichiren Buddhism in Japan during the 13th century. The name Juzumaru originates from Buddhist prayer beads, symbolizing spiritual protection and purity. Nichiren himself reportedly possessed or used the blade as a spiritual tool rather than a weapon, further enhancing its symbolic importance. Today, the sword remains preserved at the Honkoji Temple, closely tied to the Nichiren Buddhist tradition, drawing visitors intrigued by its religious significance. Finally, Odenta Mitsuyo is perhaps the most elusive of the 5 heavenly swords. Forged by Mitsuyo, a renowned smith whose blades were celebrated for their strength and quality, the sword gained fame through association with prominent historical figures. One such figure, Maeda Toshie, a powerful feudal lord during the Sengoku period, was known to have possessed this sword. Records mention Odenta Mitsuyo being passed down through important families, but its exact current location remains unclear, shrouded in mystery. Scholars debate whether it survives today in a private collection or has been permanently lost due to historical upheavals. The process behind crafting these blades demonstrates the advanced metallurgy and careful craftsmanship of Japanese swordsmiths. Making a sword of this caliber required weeks or months of dedicated labor, involving meticulous selection and folding of steel, precision hammering, careful tempering, and precise polishing techniques. Each blade combines strength, flexibility, and sharpness in perfect harmony, characteristics necessary for samurai in battle. Japanese swords such as the Tenkagoken weren't merely weapons. They represented artistic masterpieces, cultural icons, and powerful status symbols. Possessing one of these swords elevated a warrior's prestige, connecting them symbolically to a lineage of legendary samurai and historical heroes. The cultural reverence for these blades persists to this day, as modern collectors and institutions recognize their historic and aesthetic value. Their mysterious status adds significantly to their allure. While Dojigiri Yasutsuna, Mikazuki Munechika, and Juzumaru Tsunetsugu have verified locations, Onimaru Kunitsuna and Odenta Mitsuyo remain enigmas, their fates unknown. Historical turmoil, such as civil wars, political shifts, and natural disasters likely contributed to their disappearance. Some scholars propose they remain secretly preserved in private hands or temples, while others believe they may have been lost permanently due to historical destruction or misfortune. Today, the known Tenkagoken swords are carefully preserved as national treasures within museums and temples, drawing admiration from historians, martial artists, and cultural enthusiasts. Their occasional public displays attract thousands who marvel at the beauty and history these blades encapsulate. The lost swords remain subjects of popular intrigue, fueling ongoing interest and speculation about their whereabouts. The Tenka-Goken symbolize a significant chapter in Japan's historical and cultural narrative. The swords reflect the nation's complex intertwining of warfare, artistry, spirituality, and mythology, uniquely encapsulating the essence of samurai culture and traditional Japanese craftsmanship. While contemporary swordsmiths still attempt to replicate the techniques and beauty of these legendary blades, the five heavenly swords stand unmatched in their historical value and cultural significance. As artifacts, they remind us of the impressive skill, discipline, and devotion Japanese swordsmiths dedicated to their craft. As symbols, they resonate strongly within Japan's collective cultural identity, reinforcing values of honor, tradition, and excellence passed down through generations. In many ways, the five heavenly swords embody Japan's timeless fascination with the art of the blade, a fascination that persists today among historians, collectors, and cultural enthusiasts worldwide. Leaving behind the legendary samurai blades of Japan, we now travel across continents to Africa, specifically to Nigeria, home to one of the most fascinating yet least understood ancient societies, the Nok culture. Known primarily for their distinctive terracotta sculptures, the Nok civilization flourished in what is now central Nigeria from roughly 1500 BCE to 500 CE, placing them among the earliest known cultures in sub-Saharan Africa. The discovery of Nok artifacts occurred somewhat by accident, as often happens in archaeology. In 1928, tin miners working near the village of Nok stumbled upon something unexpected: beautifully crafted terracotta heads buried beneath layers of soil. Initially, the miners considered these sculptures merely curiosities, intriguing but not necessarily significant. However, the importance of these artifacts became apparent over subsequent decades as more systematic excavations began to uncover a wide variety of Nok terracotta figures throughout the region. The Nok terracotta sculptures themselves are remarkable in their craftsmanship. They predominantly depict human heads, busts, and occasionally full figures, displaying exaggerated features such as almond-shaped eyes, broad noses, detailed hairstyles, and elaborate jewelry. Some of the figures possess serene expressions, while others have more enigmatic or intense gazes. This variety gives each sculpture an individual personality, showcasing the artistic sophistication and technical skill of Nok artisans. It's easy to appreciate these artifacts for their visual elegance alone, yet their significance runs deeper, particularly in what they reveal about the society that produced them. Historically, the Nok civilization inhabited an area rich in resources, notably iron ore. Recent archaeological findings suggest that Nok people were among the earliest iron-smelting communities in sub-Saharan Africa, making them key players in the region's development and technological advancement. They utilized iron tools for agriculture, hunting, and daily life, activities that would have allowed the Nok population to thrive for many generations. Despite clear evidence of technical skill and cultural sophistication, much about the Nok culture remains uncertain, largely because of limited archaeological context. Many sculptures have been recovered as isolated finds, separated from their original settings, which makes it challenging for archaeologists to interpret their intended use. Excavations typically reveal scattered artifacts without clear connections to specific buildings or ceremonial sites, leaving experts guessing about their original function. Some scholars speculate that Nok terracotta served a religious or ritualistic purpose, possibly depicting ancestral spirits, deities, or revered community figures. The stylized nature of the sculptures, emphasizing prominent facial features, could reflect cultural ideas of beauty, spiritual power, or social status. The frequent depiction of elaborate hairstyles and jewelry might also indicate a hierarchical society with clearly defined roles, positions, or classes. However, without written records or clear archaeological context, these interpretations remain theories rather than certainties. Adding to the intrigue, Nok artists seem to have deliberately placed holes or perforations in various figures, particularly around the mouth, nose, and ears. This intriguing design element might indicate practical use, such as ventilation during the firing process, or perhaps a symbolic function, linking these terracotta figures to practices involving offerings, rituals, or ceremonies. Unfortunately, definitive answers remain elusive due to the lack of concrete archaeological evidence. Another fascinating aspect of Nok culture involves its advanced ironworking technology. Archaeologists have uncovered furnaces and slag deposits dating back to around 500 BCE, providing clear evidence of early iron smelting. This technological advancement likely had a profound impact on agriculture, warfare, and daily life, making the Nok people influential throughout West Africa. Still, despite the clear evidence of ironworking, there's little to suggest exactly how iron technology influenced Nok's cultural or artistic developments, including their terracotta creations. Interestingly, the Nok civilization seems to have disappeared quite abruptly around 500 CE, leaving behind only scattered artifacts. Various theories attempt to explain this sudden disappearance. Some historians propose environmental factors, such as prolonged drought or climate shifts, might have forced migrations or disrupted agricultural production, leading to societal collapse. Others speculate internal conflict, epidemics, or external pressures from neighboring communities as potential causes. However, concrete evidence supporting any single explanation remains sparse. The limited archaeological records surrounding Nok society also raises questions about how they managed to sustain their culture and economy over such an extended period. Their artistic style remained remarkably consistent across centuries, indicating a stable, cohesive community with strong cultural traditions. Yet, despite the evident sophistication of their terracotta sculptures and advanced ironworking technology, almost nothing is known about Nok governance, social organization, or religious beliefs. The absence of written language or clear archaeological structures complicates attempts at comprehensive historical reconstruction. In recent decades, archaeologists have employed new methods to gain insight into Nok culture. Excavations now use advanced technologies, such as remote sensing, detailed soil analysis, and dating techniques in hopes of better understanding Nok settlements and artifact contexts. Although these efforts have produced valuable insights, like evidence of residential and communal structures, many questions remain unanswered. Today, Nok artifacts are carefully preserved and displayed prominently in museums around the world, particularly in Nigeria's National Museum in Lagos. They hold significant cultural importance, representing some of the earliest examples of sub-Saharan African art and craftsmanship. International recognition of Nok terracottas as vital pieces of world heritage has elevated awareness and appreciation of African ancient history and artistic contributions globally. Moreover, the Nok civilization's artistic influence might have persisted long after its disappearance. Researchers point to stylistic similarities between Nok sculptures and later West African art, particularly those produced by the Yoruba, Benin, and Igbo peoples. This continuity suggests that Nok's cultural and artistic traditions could have influenced subsequent generations, directly or indirectly shaping West African artistic heritage. Yet despite modern research, the Nok civilization largely remains a historical mystery. Its artifacts are recognized internationally for their artistic quality, but their creators remain unidentified. With no written records and limited archaeological context, historians and archaeologists continue piecing together evidence, hoping to eventually reveal more about this fascinating ancient society. From the ancient terracotta sculptures of the Nok civilization in Africa, we journey back across continents and seas to a discovery made deep beneath the waters of the Mediterranean Sea. Near the small Greek island of Antikythera, sponge divers uncovered something extraordinary, a remarkable artifact now famously known as the Antikythera mechanism. This enigmatic object has fascinated historians, archaeologists, and engineers alike since its unexpected discovery, representing one of the most astonishing examples of ancient technological ingenuity. The story of the Antikythera mechanism begins in the spring of 1900, when a group of Greek sponge divers encountered a violent storm off Antikythera Island. Seeking shelter, they anchored near the island's coast. While diving, they stumbled upon an underwater wreck that appeared ancient, filled with scattered bronze and marble artifacts lying amongst rocky crevices. The wreck was soon confirmed to be a Roman-era ship, probably sunk around 70 to 60 BCE while transporting valuable Greek cargo, including statues, luxury items, and bronze objects destined for the Roman elite. Among the retrieved artifacts, one particular object stood out, initially dismissed as a corroded bronze lump. It wasn't until months later that researchers recognized this artifact's significance. Upon closer examination, this lump of corroded metal revealed intricate gears, dials, and inscriptions. It was clear the object was not merely decorative or ceremonial. It was mechanical, deliberately engineered, and astonishingly sophisticated. The device became known as the Antikythera mechanism, widely considered the world's earliest known analog computer. At first glance, this device appears somewhat unassuming, especially after centuries underwater left it heavily encrusted and damaged. But beneath corrosion layers lay an intricate network of interlocking bronze gears, carefully crafted and astonishingly precise. These gears were not simply decorative. They were meticulously engineered to calculate celestial movements and astronomical phenomena, making it a complex and surprisingly accurate astronomical calculator. Historical studies place the mechanism's creation between 150 and 100 BCE, a time when ancient Greece had reached remarkable scientific heights, driven by curiosity and exploration. This was the era of Greek thinkers like Hipparchus and Archimedes, whose profound contributions to mathematics, astronomy, and engineering greatly influenced subsequent civilizations. Though direct evidence linking the Antikythera mechanism to a specific inventor remains elusive, historians speculate it may have originated from the Hellenistic scientific tradition centered around the Greek islands or major centers of knowledge, such as Alexandria or Rhodes. The device itself, once cleaned and carefully studied, proved astonishingly complex, far beyond what historians had previously thought possible for its time. Researchers using advanced imaging techniques, including X-ray computed tomography, revealed over 30 interlocking bronze gears hidden within the heavily corroded artifact. These gears were designed to predict the movements of the sun, moon, and known planets, to track lunar phases, eclipses, and even to model the complex irregularities in the moon's orbit, demonstrating an impressive grasp of astronomical knowledge and mechanical engineering. On its front face, the Antikythera mechanism had dials marking zodiac positions, months, and lunar phases. On its back, additional dials and scales allowed users to track solar and lunar eclipses and calculate the timing of significant ancient Greek events, such as the Olympic Games. Remarkably, the inscriptions on its dials were written in Greek, providing instructions and explanations of how the device operated, confirming it as an advanced educational and practical tool rather than merely an ornamental object. Yet, despite understanding its mechanical complexity and astronomical accuracy, questions about the Antikythera mechanism's purpose and intended use persist. Scholars generally agree it functioned as a sophisticated astronomical calculator, possibly intended for teaching astronomy, navigation, or even astrology. Some historians speculate it was designed to help seafarers and travelers predict celestial phenomena for practical navigation. Others propose a ceremonial or educational use, perhaps as a demonstration of advanced Greek scientific achievements and an instrument for instructing students about astronomy. Comparisons to similar artifacts or historical accounts offer limited clarity. Although ancient texts occasionally describe mechanical or astronomical devices, such as Archimedes' famed sphere or references by Cicero to similar Greek instruments, no other ancient artifact resembling the complexity of the Antikythera mechanism has ever been found. This uniqueness adds significantly to its mystery, prompting questions about whether such mechanical knowledge was widespread or limited to a specialized group of Greek craftsmen and scholars. The historical context of the Hellenistic world at the time provides valuable insights into who might have designed and crafted the Antikythera mechanism. Alexandria in Egypt, home to the famous library and museum, was a center of scientific and technological innovation where scholars freely exchanged knowledge. Rhodes, another important intellectual hub known for advanced craftsmanship and maritime trade, also remains a potential candidate for the mechanism's origin. The device's craftsmanship suggests its creators possessed an advanced understanding of both astronomy and engineering, indicating a collaboration between astronomers, mathematicians, and skilled artisans. However, despite identifying possible cultural and historical contexts, the exact inventor or workshop responsible remains uncertain. Historical records from the period mention skilled craftsmen and inventors, but none explicitly identify the Antikythera mechanism. Without clear documentation or additional artifacts from the same workshop, historians can only speculate based on circumstantial evidence. The Antikythera mechanism also raises fascinating questions about the broader impact and survival of ancient Greek technological knowledge. Its existence suggests that mechanical devices and analog calculators were more advanced and widespread in ancient Greece than previously understood. Some historians propose that similar devices existed but have been lost over time due to corrosion, recycling of valuable bronze materials, or historical upheaval. Others consider it possible that such mechanical and astronomical knowledge gradually faded from common usage, overshadowed by societal changes or historical disruptions. Today, the Antikythera mechanism is carefully preserved in Athens at the National Archaeological Museum, where it remains a highlight of their extensive collection. Museum visitors frequently marvel at the intricacy of its gears and the astonishing scientific sophistication of ancient Greek civilization. Scholars and historians continue studying the artifact using advanced imaging technology and computer modeling to better understand its functions and historical implications. Modern reconstructions have demonstrated the mechanism's practical functionality, accurately replicating its ability to predict celestial events, eclipses, and lunar phases. These reconstructions provide valuable educational tools, allowing contemporary audiences to appreciate firsthand the remarkable capabilities of ancient Greek science and engineering. Despite extensive research and reconstruction efforts, key mysteries remain surrounding the Antikythera mechanism. Who precisely invented and constructed this ancient computer? How widespread was its use in ancient Greek society, and why haven't similar devices been discovered elsewhere? Such unanswered questions continue inspiring further research, archaeological exploration, and academic debate. Ultimately, the Antikythera mechanism symbolizes ancient Greece's advanced scientific achievements and sophisticated engineering capabilities. This artifact, though corroded and fragmented, offers undeniable proof that the ancients possessed technical knowledge previously underestimated by modern historians. Shifting our focus from the sophisticated gears and celestial mysteries of ancient Greece's Antikythera mechanism, we now arrive on the island of Crete, a Mediterranean crossroads rich in history and archaeological treasures. Here, amidst the ruins of a Minoan palace, archaeologists uncovered one of the most enigmatic artifacts ever discovered, the Phaistos disc. This peculiar clay artifact has intrigued scholars, linguists, and history enthusiasts alike for more than a century, largely because it bears inscriptions in a script that remains undeciphered to this day. The discovery of the Phaistos disc occurred in 1908, during excavations at the ancient palace complex near the town of Phaistos in southern Crete. Italian archaeologist Luigi Pernier, who led the excavation, came across the small disc buried among other artifacts beneath layers of rubble. The palace site, originally dating from around 1700 to 1600 BCE, was a significant center of the Minoan civilization, known for its remarkable artistic achievements, vibrant culture, and far-reaching influence across the Mediterranean region. The Phaistos disc itself is relatively modest in size, measuring about 16 centimeters in diameter and approximately 2 centimeters thick. Fashioned from fired clay, it is carefully and symmetrically crafted, with a finely smoothed surface. What immediately captures attention, however, is the intriguing spiral inscription covering both sides of the disc. Stamped into the clay using individual reusable characters, the inscriptions form a unique spiral pattern, spiraling inward from the outer edge to the center, creating an aesthetically pleasing but perplexing arrangement. This inscription contains 241 individual symbols, comprising 45 distinct pictographic characters, arranged into sequences separated by short vertical lines. The characters themselves depict diverse objects including human figures, animals, plants, and various abstract forms. Some recognizable symbols include helmets, shields, fish, tools, and what seem like houses or ships, each carefully stamped into the clay, reflecting careful craftsmanship and methodical design. Despite their visual clarity, however, the meaning behind these pictographs and their overall linguistic significance remain entirely unknown. Efforts to decipher the Phaistos disc have fascinated linguists and historians for decades, yet the artifact stubbornly resists interpretation. While numerous theories and decoding attempts have emerged, consensus remains elusive. One challenge to decipherment lies in the uniqueness of the artifact. No similar script or language has been found elsewhere in Crete or throughout the broader Mediterranean region. Unlike Linear A or Linear B scripts discovered elsewhere on Crete, which are partially deciphered or better understood, the Phaistos disc's script appears wholly unrelated, leaving linguists puzzled. Historical context provides only limited clues. The disc's discovery within a Minoan palace suggests it might be linked to the sophisticated and culturally vibrant Minoan society, known for its elaborate palaces, trading networks, and artistic achievements. Yet without additional examples or clear context, pinpointing its intended function proves challenging. Scholars continue to debate whether it represented everyday communication, ceremonial significance, or even something more mundane like an administrative record or a calendar. Several compelling theories about the artifact's purpose have emerged, offering various interpretations based on archaeological context, cultural practices, and historical comparisons. One popular theory is that the disc served a religious or ceremonial function, possibly containing hymns, prayers, or religious chants. The spiral arrangement might symbolize religious journeys, cosmological beliefs, or ritualistic processes. Ancient Minoans, whose religious practices included worshiping natural forces and deities represented by various symbols, might have used the disc during ceremonies or festivals, though concrete evidence supporting this theory is lacking. Another possibility is that the disc functioned as a historical or administrative document. The carefully stamped characters could represent names, places, goods, or transactions, perhaps documenting a significant event, trade agreement, or tribute record. The presence of military-like imagery such as helmets and shields suggests potential connections to warfare, diplomacy, or administration. Still, without additional contextual artifacts or inscriptions, this interpretation remains speculative. A third theory, somewhat less conventional, suggests that the disc might have served a recreational or gaming function. The spiral layout and clear divisions could indicate movement spaces or counting methods used in an ancient board game. This theory, though creative and interesting, also lacks direct supporting evidence from the Minoan archaeological record, leaving scholars skeptical but open to possibilities. Despite multiple interpretations, none has gained universal acceptance, primarily due to the disc's uniqueness. Its isolation, without matching artifacts or scripts discovered elsewhere, continues to frustrate researchers attempting to unravel its mysteries. Unlike Egyptian hieroglyphics or Linear B tablets, whose decipherment became possible through numerous examples and contextual discoveries, the singularity of the Phaistos disc complicates meaningful interpretation. The disc's script itself is notably sophisticated, using reusable character stamps to imprint clay, a printing technique considered surprisingly advanced for its time. This implies the existence of a systematic approach to writing or communication, possibly indicating broader literacy or specialized scribal practices within Minoan society. It also raises intriguing questions about why such technology and writing methods have not been found more widely in archaeological records. Over recent decades, various linguists and researchers have proposed different linguistic theories, ranging from connections to Anatolian languages, ancient Greek dialects, or entirely unknown scripts from neighboring cultures. Others suggest the script might represent syllabic symbols, ideograms, or even an ancient language lost to history. Each proposal draws on linguistic, historical, and archaeological arguments, yet without further discoveries, definitive answers remain elusive. Modern technological approaches offer some potential for progress. High-resolution imaging, digital analysis, and computer-assisted linguistic methods have been employed to examine the Disc's characters, their frequency, and structural patterns, hoping to reveal linguistic clues or decode hidden patterns. However, despite these sophisticated modern tools, the Disc's secrets continue to evade researchers. Currently, the Phaistos disc is preserved and displayed in the Heraklion Archaeological Museum on Crete, attracting visitors intrigued by its enigmatic inscriptions and historical significance. It is recognized as one of the museum's premier artifacts, representing a significant chapter in Cretan and Mediterranean archaeological history. Visitors often find themselves captivated by the artifact's mysterious nature, fascinated by its unique script, and curious about the civilization that produced it. Archaeologists remain hopeful that future discoveries in Crete or nearby regions could someday provide vital clues about the artifact's origin, purpose, and meaning. Additional artifacts or inscriptions matching its script would offer invaluable context, potentially unlocking its secrets. Until then, however, the Phaistos disc remains an exceptional archaeological enigma, fascinating precisely because of its persistent refusal to be easily interpreted. Ultimately, while the Phaistos disc remains undeciphered, it continues to hold significant cultural and historical value, symbolizing humanity's persistent fascination with mysterious artifacts and unknown languages. Its spiral script, enigmatic symbols, and archaeological context offer valuable insights into ancient Mediterranean civilizations, reminding us of the complexity and ingenuity possessed by ancient cultures like the Minoans. Moving on from the undeciphered mysteries of the Phaistos disc, we now shift our attention to a Roman artifact that puzzles historians and scientists alike, not due to obscure inscriptions, but because of its unique physical properties. This remarkable item, known as the Lycurgus cup, was crafted in ancient Rome around the 4th century CE and stands out among ancient glassware for a striking and puzzling characteristic. It changes color dramatically under different lighting conditions. The Lycurgus cup was first documented in the collections of the 19th century French nobleman Lionel de Rothschild. Its origins prior to Rothschild remain unclear, though many speculate it was recovered from Roman archaeological sites during 18th century excavations. Today, it resides safely in the British Museum, intriguing visitors with its unusual beauty and mysterious craftsmanship. At first glance, the cup is an elegantly crafted Roman drinking vessel, approximately 16 centimeters in height, intricately adorned with relief carvings depicting the mythological king Lycurgus. In Greek mythology, Lycurgus was a ruler who challenged the god Dionysus, resulting in his own downfall. On the cup, detailed reliefs vividly portray the scene of Lycurgus trapped by grapevines, a symbolic punishment for his defiance. But what truly captivates scholars and museum visitors alike is the vessel's remarkable optical phenomenon. In regular ambient light, the Lycurgus cup appears jade green, opaque yet beautifully detailed. However, when illuminated from behind or within, the cup dramatically shifts its hue to a luminous deep red, displaying a vivid translucence that seems astonishingly modern. This remarkable optical transformation, known scientifically as dichroism, is rare among ancient artifacts and represents one of the earliest known examples of color-changing glass. Scientific analysis reveals that this remarkable property is due to the cup's unique composition, incorporating microscopic particles of gold and silver within its glass matrix. These tiny metal nanoparticles, each far smaller than the width of a human hair, are dispersed throughout the glass in such a way that they interact differently with light, depending on its direction. In modern terms, this represents an ancient form of nanotechnology, demonstrating a surprising level of scientific sophistication. The presence of these metallic nanoparticles puzzled researchers when first discovered, as it implies that Roman craftsmen had an advanced understanding of materials and their optical properties. The exact techniques by which they achieved this remarkable effect remain uncertain. Ancient glassmaking typically involved heating and blending silica with various metallic oxides, or additives, to produce different colors. But achieving consistent nanoparticle dispersion of gold and silver at precisely the right scale requires careful control of temperature and material ratios, a capability historians previously believed beyond Roman artisans. Historical records and artifacts suggest Roman glassmakers experimented extensively with colorants, producing beautiful and varied hues, using minerals like copper, cobalt, and manganese. The creation of luxurious and elaborately decorated glassware was widespread during Rome's imperial period, particularly within elite circles. However, surviving Roman glass artifacts rarely show evidence of the precise nanoparticle technology demonstrated in the Lycurgus cup, making this artifact exceptionally unusual. This has led researchers to wonder how the Romans might have stumbled upon or deliberately engineered this unique optical effect. Some scholars suggest accidental discovery may have played a role. Perhaps Roman craftsmen observed unusual optical effects when combining certain materials, leading them to refine the process deliberately. Others propose it was the result of intentional experimentation by highly skilled artisans working with elite patrons who demanded increasingly impressive decorative effects. Unfortunately, historical records documenting the process or its inventors have not been found, leaving modern historians reliant on educated guesses. The cup's imagery, depicting Lycurgus's punishment, may also provide insights into its cultural significance. Dionysus, the god whom Lycurgus defied, was associated with wine and revelry. It seems fitting, then, that a cup, changing from green to wine red, would have symbolic resonance in a culture strongly connected to wine consumption. Wealthy Romans frequently held elaborate feasts and drinking parties, and luxury drinking vessels served practical and symbolic roles, indicating status, wealth, and cultural sophistication. The Lycurgus cup's imagery of mythological punishment also aligns with Roman moralistic themes, serving perhaps as a symbolic warning against hubris or defiance of divine authority. High-status Roman banquets often featured subtle symbolic messages in tableware and decor, allowing wealthy hosts to display their intellectual sophistication. The Lycurgus cup may thus have played a ceremonial or symbolic role during such events, impressing guests with both its storytelling imagery and remarkable color-changing property. Yet despite theories about its intended use, historical context, and symbolic meanings, the cup's true purpose remains somewhat uncertain. It could have been primarily decorative, commissioned by a wealthy Roman patron seeking an impressive showpiece. Alternatively, it might have served practical functions at ceremonial feasts or banquets, symbolizing social status or elite knowledge. Without more precise historical records, these possibilities remain intriguing, but speculative. Similar dichroic effects are notably rare in ancient glass artifacts, making comparative analyses challenging. A few other Roman glass fragments demonstrating similar color-changing properties have been discovered, though none match the sophistication and preservation of the Lycurgus cup. The cup thus remains a unique testament to Roman craftsmanship, highlighting a level of scientific understanding previously underestimated by modern historians. Modern scientific techniques, including electron microscopy and X-ray analysis, continue to offer insights into the cup's composition and manufacturing processes. Researchers have successfully identified precise ratios and distributions of gold and silver nanoparticles within the glass, demonstrating how ancient craftsmen controlled these materials to achieve the dichroic effect. However, the exact methods and materials used to produce the nanoparticles themselves remain partly speculative. This unique Roman cup prompts continuing research and debate among historians, archaeologists, and material scientists, each intrigued by the artifact's technological sophistication and historical implications. Yet despite decades of study, the Lycurgus cup retains much of its original mystery, a silent testament to the creativity and ingenuity of its ancient creators. Ultimately, the Lycurgus cup represents an exceptional example of Roman glassmaking artistry and scientific achievement. Its distinctive color-changing property continues to intrigue researchers and visitors alike, prompting ongoing investigation and fascination. While we may never fully understand the exact techniques or historical circumstances behind its creation, the cup remains a powerful reminder of ancient technological ingenuity and artistic sophistication. Stepping away from the intriguing mysteries of Roman glassmaking, our next artifact transports us from ancient Rome to the vibrant, sprawling Ottoman Empire of the 16th century. Here, amid bustling bazaars, grand palaces, and busy maritime trade routes, a cartographer named Piri Reis crafted a map whose accuracy continues to puzzle historians and geographers alike. The famous Piri Reis map. The Piri Reis map was created in 1513 by Ahmed Muhiddin Piri, known historically as Piri Reis, an Ottoman admiral, geographer, and skilled cartographer. The surviving portion of this remarkable map is drawn on gazelle skin parchment and measures roughly 90 by 63 centimeters, showing portions of the Atlantic Ocean, western coasts of Europe and Africa, the Caribbean, and notably, the coastline of South America, with surprising accuracy. Discovered in 1929 within the Topkapi Palace archives in Istanbul, the map was initially overlooked, only later recognized by scholars for its historical significance and detailed depiction of previously unexplored regions. The map's existence reflects the intense Ottoman interest in maritime exploration during the Age of Discovery, a period dominated by European expeditions, but also greatly influenced by Ottoman and Arabic cartographic traditions. Piri Reis himself noted that his map was a compilation, drawing upon numerous older maps and nautical charts, both European and Arab sources, some of which, he claimed, dated back to the era of Alexander the Great. These original sources, however, have long since vanished, leaving historians intrigued by how and from whom Piri Reis acquired such extensive geographical knowledge. One striking aspect of the Piri Reis map is its surprising accuracy regarding coastlines and regions that were supposedly unexplored or inadequately documented at the time. Most notably, it displays remarkably precise depictions of South America's eastern coastline. In fact, its accuracy rivals, and in some cases surpasses, maps produced by contemporary European cartographers, raising significant questions about the Ottoman admiral's sources. However, the most intriguing and controversial aspect of the Piri Reis map involves its depiction of a landmass at the southern edge, which some interpret as Antarctica. According to certain interpretations, this coastline closely matches Antarctica's contours beneath its ice sheet, a geographical feature unknown and uncharted until modern mapping techniques in the 20th century. How could a 16th century Ottoman cartographer have known of a landmass that modern explorers would not fully document until centuries later? This puzzling detail has led to considerable debate among historians, cartographers, and even proponents of alternative history theories. Many researchers have sought rational explanations, suggesting that the southern landmass might instead represent a distorted or speculative rendering of the South American coastline. Such distortion could have resulted from errors in compiling different source maps, or misinterpretation of nautical logs, and accounts from early voyages, such as those of Portuguese explorers. Yet, even if this landmass represents a misinterpretation, the accuracy of other geographical features remains impressive, prompting continued curiosity about the map's original sources. The Ottoman Empire's strategic position along vital trade routes connecting Europe, Africa, and Asia would have allowed access to a wealth of geographical information through sailors, merchants, and captured documents. Piri Reis himself mentions in marginal notes on the map that he referenced maps used by Christopher Columbus, some captured by Ottoman forces from Spanish ships. This claim is plausible, given the Ottoman Empire's naval prowess. and frequent conflicts with European maritime powers. Such captured European sources might have provided critical cartographic information about the Americas, accounting for much of the map's accuracy. Furthermore, the map includes illustrations and notes about indigenous animals and resources, suggesting the Ottomans' interest was not merely academic, but driven by practical and economic considerations. For example, alongside coastal details, the map features decorative illustrations of parrots, monkeys, and mythological sea creatures, reflecting contemporary fascination with exotic New World wildlife and trade opportunities. Nevertheless, these plausible explanations have not prevented more speculative theories from emerging. Some enthusiasts argue that the map is evidence of ancient, advanced civilizations predating known human exploration, theorizing that Piri Reis accessed ancient cartographic sources, tracing back to societies with precise navigational skills and global knowledge, such as lost civilizations of Atlantis or undiscovered ancient mariners. While these theories remain popular in alternative historical discussions, historians typically approach them with skepticism due to a lack of tangible archaeological evidence. Comparing the Piri Reis map to other contemporary maps reveals both similarities and notable differences. European maps from the same period, like those by Mercator or Ortelius, often relied heavily on speculative or incomplete information, resulting in distorted depictions of the New World. The comparative accuracy of certain coastlines on Piri Reis's map indicates he may have utilized more reliable, first-hand maritime accounts or earlier maps derived from actual voyages, potentially including lost Portuguese, Spanish, or Arabic charts. Piri Reis's background provides valuable historical context for the map's creation. As an experienced admiral, he had considerable first-hand knowledge of naval expeditions and extensive access to seafaring reports from sailors navigating the Atlantic, Mediterranean, and Indian Oceans. Ottoman naval archives and interactions with sailors from various cultures would have provided Piri Reis ample opportunity to gather geographical intelligence, contributing significantly to the map's accuracy. The map itself was originally part of a larger world map that Piri Reis constructed, though only a fragment remains today. Its marginal notes provide brief explanations, sources, and geographical insights, offering clues into the Ottoman perspective on global exploration and maritime knowledge at the time. Today, the surviving fragment of the Piri Reis map is carefully preserved in Istanbul's Topkapi Palace Museum, often displayed in special exhibitions highlighting Ottoman cartographic achievements. Visitors viewing the map can appreciate firsthand the Ottomans' extensive maritime networks, sophisticated cartographic tradition, and active engagement in global exploration, rivaling their European contemporaries. Modern analyses of the Piri Reis map continue to intrigue historians, cartographers, and maritime scholars. Advanced imaging and cartographic studies have examined the map's accuracy, potential sources, and cultural context, offering valuable insights, yet still leaving some fundamental questions unanswered. Historians remain hopeful that additional historical documents, shipwrecks, or archival discoveries might someday provide clearer explanations regarding the map's original sources, creators, and extent of Ottoman geographical knowledge. The Piri Reis map thus stands as an exceptional artifact from the age of exploration, representing both historical reality and intriguing mysteries. It demonstrates the Ottoman Empire's significant contributions to early cartography, showcasing their navigational knowledge, global curiosity, and skillful integration of information from diverse maritime cultures. While some mysteries persist, the map provides a valuable window into a historical period characterized by bold exploration, cross-cultural exchanges, and the emergence of our modern understanding of global geography. Moving from the intricate maps of the Ottoman Empire to the lush tropical landscape of Costa Rica, we encounter another fascinating archaeological mystery, the Costa Rica stone spheres. These remarkable artifacts, perfectly rounded stones of varying sizes, have captivated scholars and visitors alike, scattered across the country's forests, rivers, and fields. The discovery of these spheres dates back to the 1930s, when agricultural workers from the United Fruit Company were clearing dense jungle areas in the Dikis Delta region to plant banana crops. While clearing vegetation, workers stumbled upon these large, seemingly man-made stone objects. Initially seen merely as curiosities or obstacles, their significance was recognized only later by archaeologists, who began systematic study and excavation of these intriguing artifacts. The Costa Rican spheres are composed primarily of granodiorite, a hard volcanic rock that's notoriously difficult to shape. Their sizes vary significantly, ranging from a few centimeters in diameter up to more than 2 meters, with weights that can reach as much as 15 tons. Despite their massive proportions, these spheres exhibit extraordinary craftsmanship. Their surfaces are smooth and evenly rounded, with near-perfect symmetry, a degree of precision remarkable for pre-Columbian civilizations. The earliest creation of these spheres is attributed to the indigenous Dikis culture, which flourished in the region from approximately 700 to 1530 CE. This culture, part of the broader Chiriquí civilization, developed a complex society with established trade networks, advanced agriculture, and significant cultural practices. However, beyond these general historical details, much about their daily life, traditions, and particularly their reasons for creating these spheres remains obscure. This absence of direct historical records or oral traditions explaining the stone's purpose has fueled considerable debate and speculation among archaeologists. One prominent theory suggests that the spheres might have served as territorial markers or status symbols, indicating ownership of specific lands or properties. The sphere's arrangement and size might have communicated social standing, with larger or more finely crafted spheres possibly belonging to individuals of higher status or significance. Another theory links the spheres to astronomical or calendrical functions. The meticulous crafting and careful placement of certain spheres, particularly those found in organized groups, has led some researchers to suggest alignments corresponding with celestial events. This concept proposes that the indigenous people of the region may have used these spheres as primitive yet effective astronomical markers, tracking solstices, equinoxes, or other significant dates relevant to agriculture or ceremonial life. Nevertheless, while this theory remains popular, clear evidence of deliberate astronomical alignment remains elusive, with ongoing research attempting to verify these claims. Alternatively, some historians believe these stone spheres had ceremonial or religious significance. Indigenous cultures across the Americas often integrated significant stones into religious rituals or spiritual beliefs, seeing them as powerful symbols of stability, eternity, or spiritual connection. The smooth, symmetrical nature of these spheres might have represented perfection, balance, or cosmological ideals within the culture's worldview, potentially serving as focal points during religious ceremonies or communal rituals. The biggest puzzle surrounding these spheres, however, remains the methods employed to craft and transport them. Carving and shaping granodiorite into nearly perfect spheres, especially given their large sizes, would have required considerable skill, labor, and patience. Tools used in the process have not been definitively identified, but archaeologists speculate that stone and wooden instruments, combined with abrasive materials such as sand, might have gradually smoothed the sphere's surfaces. Still, achieving such precision without modern tools and machinery presents significant practical challenges, leaving historians impressed yet puzzled by the techniques ancient artisans used. Similarly perplexing is the transportation of these large spheres. Many spheres have been found considerable distances from known sources of granodiorite, sometimes located tens of kilometers away from their probable quarry sites. Moving stones weighing multiple tons across dense tropical terrain would have required sophisticated logistical planning, manpower, and organization, reflecting a level of societal cooperation and technical capability previously underestimated for these ancient peoples. Comparatively, similar spherical stones have been found in various cultures worldwide, though rarely matching the size, precision, or number of the Costa Rican examples. For instance, spherical stones have appeared in archaeological sites from Bosnia, Scotland, and New Zealand, yet none exhibit the degree of refinement or apparent cultural significance seen in the Costa Rican spheres. This uniqueness has prompted further curiosity about the Diqui civilization and its capacity for complex social organization and skilled artisanship. These stone spheres hold considerable cultural significance in Costa Rica. Recognized as national treasures, many of them have been preserved and showcased in museums, public parks, and archaeological sites around the country. In 2014, UNESCO officially listed several archaeological sites featuring these spheres as a World Heritage Site, recognizing their cultural importance and historical significance. Visitors to Costa Rica frequently encounter these stone spheres, often marveling at their symmetry, size, and the unresolved questions surrounding their origins. Ongoing archaeological efforts continue in Costa Rica, aiming to better understand these fascinating artifacts. Current research includes using advanced technologies such as ground-penetrating radar, remote sensing, and geospatial mapping to study their precise placement and potential astronomical alignments. Scholars also explore indigenous traditions and oral histories to glean possible cultural insights or explanations regarding the sphere's symbolic meaning or practical use. Despite modern research methods and detailed archaeological studies, the precise original purpose of Costa Rica's stone spheres remains uncertain. Each new excavation or analysis offers valuable clues, yet many fundamental questions persist unanswered. Who precisely crafted these spheres? What cultural or practical purposes motivated their construction? And how were they transported and arranged so precisely across challenging terrain? Moving from the mysterious stone spheres of Costa Rica, we now turn our attention to medieval Europe, a world filled with monasteries, illuminated manuscripts, and vibrant religious beliefs. Among countless medieval texts that have survived to modern times, one stands out for its extraordinary size, unusual legend, and fascinating historical significance: the Codex Gigas, often referred to as the Devil's Bible. The Codex Gigas, whose name translates simply as Giant Book, is the largest surviving medieval manuscript in the world. It was created in the early 13th century, around 1229 CE, most likely at a Benedictine monastery in what is now the Czech Republic. Historically, the manuscript is associated with the monastery at Podlaží, although exact details of its creation remain uncertain. Physically, the Codex Gigas is impressive, measuring roughly 92 centimeters tall, 50 centimeters wide, and approximately 22 centimeters thick. It weighs around 75 kilograms, making it nearly impossible for one person to handle comfortably. The book's massive size required roughly 160 animal skins, most likely calf or donkey, to provide the parchment for its 620 pages. This practical detail alone indicates the significant resources, time, and labor needed to produce the manuscript, emphasizing its importance during medieval times. The book's contents are equally remarkable. Within its vast pages, the Codex Gigas contains an extensive array of religious and secular texts. It includes the entire Latin translation of the Christian Bible, the Vulgate, historical chronicles, medical treatises, magical formulas, calendars, and encyclopedic collections of knowledge from various fields. Such breadth demonstrates the wide-ranging interests and scholarship of medieval monastic culture. Yet the Codex Gigas earns its nickname Devil's Bible, primarily due to a striking full-page illustration found near its center, a dramatic and vivid depiction of the devil himself. This unusual illustration, measuring roughly 50 centimeters in height, portrays a monstrous crouching figure with clawed feet, sharp talons, greenish skin, and a fierce, unsettling expression. Placed within the manuscript alongside sacred Christian texts, this depiction is unique, fueling legends and speculation about the manuscript's origins and purpose. According to popular medieval legends, the Codex Gigas was authored in a single night by a desperate Benedictine monk. This monk, sentenced to death for serious crimes against his monastic vows, promised his superiors he would create the greatest book ever written in just one night as penance, hoping to earn pardon. As midnight approached and completion seemed impossible, the legend states the monk invoked the devil himself to aid in finishing the manuscript. As a tribute or acknowledgement of this supernatural assistance, the monk included a portrait of the devil within its pages. While certainly dramatic and fascinating, historians generally interpret the legend metaphorically, viewing it as illustrative of medieval attitudes toward knowledge, religion, and morality rather than literal historical truth. Nonetheless, the presence of such a striking image and legend has greatly enhanced public fascination with the manuscript, ensuring its enduring popularity and scholarly attention. Historical analysis of the manuscript's textual content reveals a comprehensive compilation of medieval knowledge, likely intended as a reference work or library resource within the monastery. The inclusion of medical texts, encyclopedic knowledge, magical spells, and even descriptions of exorcism rituals alongside biblical scripture illustrates medieval monks' broad intellectual curiosity and their attempts to document the full range of human knowledge available to them. As for the creation process, scholarly studies indicate the Codex Gigas was likely the result of years or even decades of work by a single scribe. Handwriting analysis suggests remarkable consistency throughout the manuscript, pointing to one dedicated individual laboriously completing the massive book over an extended period, contrary to the legendary tale of overnight completion. Crafting a manuscript of such size required careful planning, resource allocation, and dedicated labor, qualities indicative of its significance within medieval monastic society. Comparison to similar medieval illuminated manuscripts highlights both its uniqueness and broader cultural context. Illuminated manuscripts were common across medieval Europe, often beautifully illustrated by skilled artists. However, the sheer scale, comprehensive scope, and unusual content of the Codex Gigas distinguish it significantly from typical medieval manuscripts, placing it among the most significant and unusual examples of medieval bookmaking. The Codex Gigas has experienced a complex historical journey over the centuries, changing hands numerous times due to political upheavals, wars, and religious changes. It remained in Bohemia until the 17th century when, during the 30 Years' War, Swedish forces looted Prague, transporting the book to Sweden. Since then, the manuscript has remained in Sweden, surviving devastating fires and narrowly avoiding destruction on multiple occasions. Today, the Codex Gigas is preserved in Stockholm's National Library of Sweden, where it remains one of the library's most treasured artifacts. Due to its enormous size and delicate condition, the manuscript requires specialized storage and careful handling. Curators periodically display the manuscript publicly, drawing significant crowds eager to see the famed Devil's Bible. Visitors often marvel at the manuscript's impressive size, remarkable illustrations, and fascinating legend, offering unique insight into medieval monastic life, religious beliefs, and intellectual culture. Contemporary scholarly studies and conservation efforts ensure the manuscript's preservation for future generations. Advanced imaging technology, careful conservation, and detailed research have significantly deepened modern understanding of the Codex Gigas' history, contents, and construction methods, providing valuable information about medieval society and intellectual pursuits. Despite modern advances, certain mysteries still surround the Codex Gigas. Questions remain regarding the identity of its scribe, the precise motives behind its compilation, and how the manuscript's dramatic devil illustration was perceived within its original medieval context. Ongoing research continues seeking clearer answers, examining historical documents, handwriting analyses, and comparative studies with other medieval texts. Overall, the Codex Gigas stands as a testament to medieval European intellectual culture, showcasing a unique blend of religious scripture, practical knowledge, historical records, and superstition. It exemplifies medieval monks' immense dedication and patience in preserving knowledge and information through laborious manuscript creation. Moving from the massive and mysterious Codex Gigas in medieval Europe, we now journey to ancient Egypt, specifically to one of the most celebrated archaeological discoveries in modern history, the tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun. Among the countless treasures uncovered within this tomb was a remarkable object that initially seemed relatively humble compared to its golden surroundings: a finely crafted dagger. Yet this particular dagger is unique, not because of elaborate decorations or large size, but because of its material origins: meteoric iron from outer space. The tomb of Tutankhamun, discovered by British archaeologist Howard Carter in 1922, was a monumental find, filled with incredible riches and artifacts that revealed much about ancient Egyptian culture, rituals, and craftsmanship. Amid the vast collection of treasures, Carter and his team found a small dagger carefully placed alongside the mummy of the young pharaoh. The dagger, measuring approximately 34 centimeters long, initially appeared unassuming next to the abundant gold and precious gems decorating the burial chamber. However, the true significance of the dagger emerged only years later through modern scientific analysis. Using advanced X-ray fluorescence spectroscopy, researchers discovered the dagger blade was made from iron, but not iron sourced from earthly mines or ores. Instead, it contained high levels of nickel and cobalt, an unmistakable signature of meteoric iron. This surprising revelation raised fascinating questions about ancient Egyptian metalworking, trade networks, and the symbolic significance of using iron derived from space rocks. Historical context provides valuable insight into why meteoric iron was so special for ancient Egyptians. During Tutankhamun's reign, around 1336 to 1327 BCE, iron was incredibly rare and valuable, even more so than gold or silver. At that time, Egyptians had not yet developed iron smelting techniques, meaning naturally occurring iron was limited exclusively to meteorites, objects that fell from the heavens and held profound symbolic significance. Ancient Egyptians often referred to iron as metal of heaven, believing meteorites were divine gifts, possibly sent by their gods. This spiritual belief about meteoric iron likely influenced the crafting of Tutankhamun's dagger. Its blade, despite its extraterrestrial origin, was skillfully forged, reflecting sophisticated metalworking knowledge previously underestimated for ancient Egypt. Ancient craftsmen had managed to shape, sharpen, and polish the blade using techniques suited to iron's toughness, remarkably achieved without widespread iron smelting methods. The hilt was ornately decorated, crafted from gold and adorned with intricate carvings, precious stones, and fine inlays, emphasizing its ceremonial and symbolic value as well as its functional purpose. Questions remain about precisely how the ancient Egyptians obtained this meteoric iron. Historical records from Tutankhamun's era are scarce regarding trade or collection practices related specifically to meteorites. However, Egyptologists have suggested several possibilities. One theory proposes that meteorites were collected and traded from regions outside Egypt, possibly via trade networks extending into Nubia, Mesopotamia, or other neighboring cultures. Alternatively, the meteorites might have been locally recovered, perhaps spotted falling to Earth and subsequently located by Egyptian scouts or priests who would have recognized their divine symbolism. Comparison with similar artifacts from ancient Egypt and neighboring civilizations provides additional context. Meteoric iron artifacts are exceedingly rare throughout the ancient world, making Tutankhamun's dagger an especially notable exception. Other examples include small iron beads found in pre-dynastic Egyptian burials dating from earlier periods, indicating a long-standing cultural recognition of meteoric iron's unique value. Additionally, similar objects crafted from meteoric iron have been discovered in ancient Mesopotamia, highlighting broader regional awareness and appreciation of meteorites. Culturally, the dagger's significance is deeply tied to Tutankhamun's royal status and Egyptian religious beliefs. Tutankhamun ascended the throne at a young age, his brief reign defined largely by restoration of traditional Egyptian religious practices. Objects buried alongside him were carefully chosen to emphasize divine favor, royal power, and spiritual symbolism. The dagger, crafted from metal believed to originate from the heavens, would have symbolically reinforced Tutankhamun's divine right to rule and his connection with the gods. Yet, despite careful research and historical study, certain mysteries persist. Modern researchers continue debating precisely how Egyptian metalworkers crafted and shaped this hard material without established iron smelting techniques. Experimental archaeology has demonstrated that ancient smiths could have heated and hammered meteoric iron into shape using simpler bronze or stone tools, combined with abrasive materials for polishing and sharpening. Still, precisely replicating this process today proves challenging, highlighting the impressive skills of ancient Egyptian craftsmen. The specific meteorite source remains uncertain as well. Researchers have identified several potential candidates through scientific analysis and geographical studies, including known meteorite sites in Egypt's western desert and regions beyond. Historical records indicate Egyptians were aware of meteorite falls and occasionally collected meteorites for ceremonial or symbolic purposes. Still, conclusive identification of the dagger's meteorite source remains elusive, prompting ongoing scientific and archaeological investigations. Modern interest in Tutankhamun's meteoric dagger extends beyond Egyptology into broader scientific communities. Its extraterrestrial material origin has attracted interest from geologists, metallurgists, and planetary scientists, each intrigued by the artifact's unique intersection between archaeology and meteoritics. Recent studies have employed advanced analytical techniques such as mass spectrometry, scanning electron microscopy, and neutron tomography to examine the dagger's microscopic structure, confirming its meteoric iron composition and shedding additional light on ancient metalworking methods. The dagger itself, now housed safely in Cairo's Egyptian Museum, remains an iconic artifact symbolizing ancient Egypt's remarkable craftsmanship, religious symbolism, and technological capabilities. It frequently features in museum exhibitions and documentaries exploring Tutankhamun's treasures, ancient Egyptian beliefs, and historical metallurgy. Museum visitors, historians, and scientists alike continue to marvel at this exceptional artifact, appreciating its cultural and historical significance while recognizing ongoing mysteries surrounding its creation. Overall, Tutankhamun's meteoric iron dagger serves as a compelling reminder of ancient Egyptian civilization's ingenuity, spirituality, and global interconnectedness. It highlights Egypt's active participation in regional trade networks, the skilled craftsmanship of ancient metalworkers, and the spiritual significance ancient cultures assign to celestial phenomena. While certain historical and technical questions remain unanswered, the dagger continues to intrigue, providing valuable insights into the complex and sophisticated society of ancient Egypt. Moving on from the fascinating craftsmanship and cosmic origins of Tutankhamun's dagger, we now shift focus toward a much-debated religious artifact of European origin, the Shroud of Turin. Housed securely within Turin Cathedral in Italy, the shroud is perhaps one of Christianity's most enigmatic relics, intriguing both the faithful and skeptical alike. The Shroud of Turin is a linen cloth, measuring approximately 4.4 meters long and 1.1 meters wide, bearing a faint, ghostly imprint of a human figure. Believers assert that the image represents Jesus Christ himself, capturing the moment following his crucifixion. Indeed, the cloth clearly depicts a human form, with visible markings resembling wounds from nails, thorns, and scourging, all consistent with accounts of the crucifixion described in the New Testament. Its significance thus extends far beyond mere historical interest, placing the shroud among Christianity's most revered religious relics. Historical records regarding the shroud's origins first appear in the mid-14th century, with documentation indicating its presence in Lille, France. At this time, the shroud was displayed publicly, attracting pilgrims who believed it held sacred significance. The exact details of how the shroud arrived in France remain unclear, though some researchers suggest it could have traveled through religious or military networks during the Crusades. Medieval European interest in holy relics was intense, with various churches competing for prestige through possessing notable artifacts associated with saints or biblical figures. Throughout subsequent centuries, the shroud passed through various noble hands and religious institutions, eventually reaching Turin in 1578. In Turin, it gained considerable prominence, frequently displayed during religious festivals and royal occasions. Historical events and natural disasters posed frequent risks to the shroud. A major fire in 1532 notably damaged parts of the linen fabric, leading to subsequent patches and restorations. Yet despite such damage, the central image remarkably survived, enhancing its perceived miraculous status among believers. The image on the shroud itself has fascinated observers since its first public exhibitions. Initially difficult to perceive clearly, it became dramatically more visible in 1898 when Italian photographer Secondo Pia captured the first photograph of the shroud. To Pia's surprise, photographic negatives revealed a detailed, strikingly realistic human figure. This unexpected photographic reversal sparked immediate public and scholarly interest, leading to ongoing scientific investigation and intense debate about the shroud's authenticity and origins. One of the most significant scientific studies occurred in 1988 when scientists performed radiocarbon dating tests on small fabric samples from the shroud. These tests indicated the cloth dated from approximately the 13th or 14th century CE, aligning closely with the earliest documented historical records of its existence. Critics of the shroud's authenticity argue that this dating conclusively identifies the shroud as a medieval artifact rather than a genuine relic from Christ's era. Yet the carbon dating findings have not gone unchallenged. Advocates for authenticity contend that the samples tested were from sections repaired during medieval times, potentially skewing test results. Some suggest contamination from centuries of handling, fires, or exposure could have altered carbon levels, thereby impacting dating accuracy. Though rigorous follow-up analyses support the medieval dating, debates continue, particularly among religious circles and certain scholarly communities. Beyond the dating controversies, scientific interest also centers on the method used to create the image. The shroud's depiction is notably subtle, consisting primarily of variations in fabric coloration, rather than applied pigment or paint. Close examinations conducted by modern techniques, such as spectroscopy, microscopy, and chemical analyses, have failed to identify clear evidence of known artistic methods. No traces of typical medieval pigments, dyes, or brushwork are evident, challenging theories suggesting straightforward artistic fabrication. Because of this absence of clear artistic technique, alternative hypotheses have emerged, ranging from natural chemical reactions between body fluids and fabric to intentional medieval photography-like processes involving primitive, light-sensitive methods. Yet each hypothesis struggles to provide convincing, consistent explanations that account fully for all details observed on the shroud. Consequently, the mechanism behind the image's formation remains an unresolved puzzle, prompting continued research and speculation. Further complicating the historical picture is the lack of clear documentation before the 14th century. While some advocates claim the shroud corresponds to ancient texts referring to a mandylion, or a cloth bearing Christ's image from earlier centuries, historical connections remain uncertain and debated. No definitive records directly linking the shroud to biblical events or early Christian communities have yet surfaced, complicating efforts to establish clear provenance. Comparisons to other medieval religious artifacts help contextualize the shroud's significance. Throughout medieval Europe, religious relics were immensely popular, often attracting pilgrims, enhancing church prestige, and generating economic opportunities. The shroud's appearance in 14th century France aligns with broader patterns of relic veneration, with various churches and monasteries frequently claiming possession of authentic objects associated with religious figures. Such historical context supports skeptical interpretations viewing the shroud as a medieval creation intended to inspire devotion and pilgrimage. Today, the Shroud of Turin resides securely in Turin Cathedral, carefully protected within a sealed, climate-controlled case. Public exhibitions remain rare, generally occurring only during special religious events or at intervals of several decades, further enhancing public interest and attendance when the cloth is displayed. Scholarly and scientific investigation continues actively, with researchers employing advanced technologies such as digital imaging, DNA analysis, and further textile studies. Current research efforts aim not only to reassess carbon dating findings, but also to understand historical contexts, potential chemical reactions causing image formation, and medieval textile production methods. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the mysteries of the ancient world. From perfectly shaped stone spheres in Costa Rica, the legendary Devil's Bible, to the enigmatic Shroud of Turin, each artifact reveals fascinating glimpses into humanity's ingenuity, beliefs, and unsolved secrets. But what do you think? Is there a historical mystery that particularly captured your imagination? Which artifact sparked your curiosity the most? Share your thoughts, theories, or questions in the comments below. We love hearing from you. And if you enjoyed unraveling these historical puzzles with us, don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into the fascinating unknown.